6 individuals, 1 coach, and 1 team into the Hall of Fame. And during tonight's program, we'll remember the good memories from eras near and far and celebrate the incredible accomplishments of these fine men and women. Cross country and track and field athlete. Hey Kyle, great job on all that you've done. It's really great to be back at school. Every time I come back, it's getting more and more beautiful. Love the gym. Everyone, speaking of beautiful, you guys look very dapper tonight. Yeah, go ahead, take a seat in the back. We're just waiting on you. We got some important people to recognize. It's also special for me because our guy, Chris Wensler, was the one who hosted this for 30 years, and we have a cute little nice cutout touch. Joe Ginley, what a cute touch that is. We got Chris in the house watching over us. Our guy. We'll definitely be honoring his legacy tonight with the second presentation of the Wensler Award to a person who embodies what it means to be a Wensler warrior, Jamie Daly. Present and future, and we celebrate the inductees who have had wonderful examples of what it means to be a Blue Streak. And they've given so much to the university, setting up JCU athletics for future success. And here to talk more about the Blue Streaks is our Senior Director. Please welcome our Senior Director of Athletics, Michelle Morgan.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for making your way downstairs and being here tonight. Welcome back. For some of you that maybe haven't been here for a while, it's exciting to see so many people that haven't been to campus in a while as we welcome and enshrine the 2022 class of the John Carroll Athletic Hall of Fame. We're excited for tonight's program as we have so many people in attendance that have made such an impact on the university and our athletic programs. We've been blessed with success over the past year. For a record 7th straight season, we've brought home the OAC All-Men's Sport Trophy. Yep. And this past April, we dedicated and opened the brand new beautiful Short Family Tennis Center, which has been a game changer for our student athletes and our tennis team. We're also finalizing some plans on a brand new field house that will definitely improve the lives of our student athletes and help that competitive advantage. There's lots of excitement here in University Heights these days. But this year is special for the university, not only for myself, but for John Carroll Athletics, as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX and the 50 plus years of outstanding women's athletics at John Carroll. We look forward to celebrating these milestones tonight and throughout the year as we honor our first ever women's golf inductee. And we've been very fortunate to have many women that have contributed over the years, but I especially tonight would like to welcome and thank Dr. Kathleen Manning, who is a pioneer in helping all things women athletics here. So Dr. Manning, if you could stand up, please. Tonight, we'll celebrate our rich athletic tradition and our storied past. We'll welcome Tony, Joey, Brittany, Jim, Matt, Amanda, Corey, Hector, and the 2002 football team into the company of Blue Streak legends. You've demonstrated both on the field and in the classroom what it means to be a Blue Streak. Tonight is a shining example of current and future generations of John Carroll student athletes, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations again, and welcome to the John Carroll Athletic Hall of Fame. I would now like to welcome the president of John Carroll University, Dr. Al McKeown.
Good evening, everyone. All right. Okay, first thing, I got hit up by the Blue Gold Club, so I would like to present my ball cap to the mayor of John Carroll, the most popular man in the room, Dr. Andy Welke. Andy, come on up. Hurry up, Andy. Thanks, sir. All right. It's $100 hat. There you go. Okay. All right. Nobody does more for John Carroll athletics and academics than Dr. Welke. We really appreciate all he does for us. Now, let me start by first congratulating all of our award recipients tonight. Congratulations on this great honor. And I hope you cherish this moment with your family, your friends, and your former teammates and coaches, right? It's a great night of celebration. This year, I've been talking to our faculty, staff, and our students about the Jesuit ideal of magis, and that magis refers to better, not more. The necessity of striving to be the best at whatever we do, in academics, in residence life, in athletics. And of all of our affinity groups that I'll be seeing tonight, this group demonstrates that magis principle the most, right? You are living examples of what D3 athletics is really all about, the ideals that it stands for. John Carroll is in the midst of many transformational initiatives that will fundamentally make us a better institution for the generations of Blue Streaks to come, creating a new College of Health Sciences, launching a nursing school, creating enhanced programs in engineering, physics, neuroscience, and renovating all of our campus, including our residence halls. And in fall of 2024, a new athletic field house right over here on the top of the Belvoir parking lot. What if I said it was a $60 million investment in a field house for all Blue Streak athletes? So all of these projects represent the institution's dedication, not just to doing more, but to making this university be the best, right? The best in athletics, the best in academics, the best in residence life, living, and experience for all of our students. So I congratulate all of our inductees tonight for truly embodying this principle of magis, this ideal of magis, right? Being the best, right? Doing better, not only doing more. Your legacy serves as a guiding light for our over 600 student athletes during their athletic experience and time here at John Carroll. Thank you all very much, and congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Al and Michelle. I think before we get started eating, it is the right time to bring up Father Bernie for our prayer. Of course, one of our most well-known Blue Streaks and a constant presence around JCU football and all of athletics. Father Bernie, come on up.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this joyful opportunity to meet as Blue Streaks on a beautiful fall day on our beloved campus. Father, we recall your generosity in giving talents in epic measure to the athletes and teams to be honored tonight. John Carroll recognizes them and takes righteous pride in them. We also credit, of course, their families and coaches who in many cases assisted these athletes on their journey from early potential to later greatness. Father, bless all here present tonight with joy and gratitude. Bless this university's current athletic season and the project of enhancing athletic facilities for future generations of Blue Streaks. Father, bless, O Lord, the food and drink we are about to receive. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Bon appetit.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin this evening's program. Tonight's ceremony is being sponsored by our Blue Gold Club and the official booster organization of John Carroll Athletics. And to officially welcome you this evening, as well as make a few special remarks, we will invite up our Blue Gold president, Hall of Fame football player, and a member of the class of 2001, Mr. Brian Filikowski.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here this evening. As you can see, we have a packed house. I think, by count, we believe this is a record, which is pretty cool. Tonight, we are here to celebrate greatness through the crowning achievement for a JCU student athlete, coach, or team, a ticket into the Athletic Hall of Fame. And that being said, there's plenty of greatness amongst us this evening here to witness this ceremony. Would any current John Carroll Hall of Famer, either individually or from a team, please take a moment to stand and be recognized. Thank you for your excellence and your continued commitment to John Carroll and the Blue Gold Club. My name is Brian Filkowski, a proud member of the class of 2001 and 2007, and a former member of the football team. I have the distinct honor tonight of speaking on behalf of the Blue Gold Club as its current president, and I want to start by thanking those that made this evening a reality. To Michelle Morgan, Allison Kwan, Joe Ginley, Rory O'Neill, Candace Pluhar, the Blue Gold Club Executive Committee, the entire Hall of Fame Selection Committee, I thank you for your time, energy, and commitment. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony is without question the Blue Gold Club's signature event of the year. As the official athletic booster for the club, as the official athletic booster club for the university, it is our mission to promote, support, and recognize varsity sports at John Carroll. All three of those priorities converge on this event. First and foremost, we are here to recognize 7 individual athletes, 1 coach, and 1 team for their incredible accomplishments, both on and off the field. I would personally like to congratulate Tony Sesegel, Joey Bigler, Brittany Danilov, Jim Mitchell, Matt Nortz, Amanda Shannon, Corey Schatz, Hector Marinero, and the 2002 football team. Tonight, you enter an elite club at John Carroll that spans over 102 years of varsity athletics. And it was 102 years prior to your enshrinement tonight. There are only 289 individuals and 15 teams currently in the hall. Think about that for a second. And let's peel the onion back one more layer. Tony will join 15 other current Hall of Famers for men's soccer. Joey and Corey, you'll join 51 for men's basketball. Brittany joins only 5 from softball. Jim joins 103 members from the football program. Matt joins 17 from track and field. Amanda joins nobody. She's our first ever inductee in the history of the women's golf program and could argue at this very point in time the greatest golfer in the history of John Carroll. Hector joins only 11 coaches in the hall, of which only 1 previously coached men's soccer. Finally, our 2002 football team joins 15 other teams, and with this being the program's 100th year, only 3 of those are football teams. I also have a personal connection to this team. I want to let you know that I'm very proud of you for this deserving induction. Apparently, you just needed my class to graduate so we could get out of your way. As you can tell by all of these stats for these inductees, you are truly the best of the best. Your legacy will be memorialized forever within the halls of JCU as a result. Also tonight is special in the fact that we will be presenting our 2nd annual Chris Wensler Award to Jamie Danley. This award is given annually on this night to a former student athlete that simply represents everything that Chris and the Jesuit mission of John Carroll stands for. Jamie, congratulations. Your body of work made this a very easy selection for the committee, and I know Chris is proud. In recognizing these individuals, we promote the greater experience of John Carroll Athletics and what it means to be a student athlete here. That legacy that every athlete builds for themselves over their career, that is what is truly special. I believe that's why student athletes have been and remain one of our strongest financial supporters amongst all alumni segments. And in that vein, it is our ultimate hope that this event garners continued and also new support for John Carroll Athletics, support that goes beyond the impressive turnout of the 300+ individuals in this room tonight. In just a few short minutes, we'll hear from each Hall of Famer as they reflect back on their experiences as student athletes and share what this means, what this honor means to them. I doubt any of them will talk about the condition of the weight room and the equipment that they lifted on, the room they held team meetings in, or the scoring table that reflected another John Carroll basketball win. Instead, we're likely to hear about the camaraderie forged between teammates, the funny stories, the memories of what it felt like during victory and defeat, and the lasting influences of coaches, Jesuits, faculty, and staff. But these experiences and these achievements, they cannot happen without those other things, without infrastructure. And that's where the Blue Gold Club fits in. It's our niche. We understand the importance of infrastructure. We help fill in funding gaps with the athletic department, yet are proactive and look for new opportunities to help our student athletes in tangible ways. That is why I joined the club immediately after graduating, and that is why I serve as president now. We help tangibly, and our impact is immediately felt by our student athletes who are on their own journeys and creating their own legacy. In just the last few years, the Blue Gold Club has invested close to $150,000 to improve the varsity weight room and the Shula Stadium, which is used by every single varsity sport, men and women. Other recent investments include us being the first donor to the Champions Endowment, a new shooting machine for the men and women's basketball program, a new outfield fence at Bracken Field, HD streaming services so we can all watch our team when we can't be here, new mats for the wrestling program, improved equipment at the indoor golf facility, a record board for the swimming team, and the ladder winner program. As you can see, the list goes on, and it gives you a sense as to what we're doing. As a club, we also personally reached out to our athletes during the pandemic, gave them phone calls, and then supplied them with COVID masks as classes returned. Finally, along with the financial support of the 1989 football team, many of which are present, and I thank you, we partnered with them financially to help renovate the Blue Gold room directly above me, which every athlete at some point in their career spends time in. In order to continue making these investments, we need your support. If you're not already a member of the Blue Gold Club, I strongly encourage you to join me and become one. There are materials and QR codes at your table. Please scan it on your phone on the way out and learn more about the club, and hopefully join our proud membership as we carry out this very important mission. Because while tonight is absolutely about the enshrinement of the inductees, the future of John Carroll Athletics depends upon us looking forward and investing in the ones that are following our footsteps. Again, thank you for coming, and inductees, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Please join us tomorrow in the parking lot right next to the Bowler College of Business for a tailgate party before the football game sponsored by the club. Coach Nystrom has already promised me a victory. It's going to be a great day. Onward on, Blue Streaks, your legacy starts here. Thank you.
Okay, it's finally here. Our first inductee tonight is Tony Seschel. Tony cut his teeth in high school soccer in St. Louis, a city known for its excellent soccer, but his high school athletic experience was not fulfilling. However, his soccer experience in college would be legendary. Tony first heard about John Carroll during a college fair. During a trip to Ohio, Tony visited both Xavier and JCU. He talked to Tim Babb, who told the young goalkeeper that he had the chance to start all 4 years. And sure enough, Tony would indeed start all 4 years at John Carroll. He promised that a strong recruiting class was inbound, immediately dubbed the Babb Five. Others in the class included future fellow Hall of Famers Drew Carney and Rich Kramer. Tony did have to fend off some competition during the first weeks of practice, but it didn't take long for Bab and Tony's teammates to see his talent. Tony started the first game of the 1982 season against Mount Union and posted a clean sheet. It was a preview of what was to come. The competition in the President's Athletic Conference was fierce. John Carroll battled against top programs, including rival Bethany. As Tony remembers, we pulled out wins and beat teams we shouldn't have. Tony's team posted a 4-0-2 mark in the PAC play in 1982, finishing as the runner-up in the conference championship. His sophomore season was even better, as Tony limited opponents to just 12 goals during an 8-5 season. In 1984, the Blue Streaks captured the PAC championship with Tony helping lead the way. JCU tallied a 12-3-1 overall record, and one of those wins came against one of the strongest programs of all time, the University of Notre Dame. Despite an injury, Tony helped the Blue Streaks to hold off the Fighting Irish in an unforgettable day in South Bend, ending in a 3-2 victory. Tony would later be named the conference co-MVP. Tony earned accolades again after a strong senior season to cap off his career. At first, teams came calling for tryouts, but after talking with his JCU professors, Tony decided on a master's degree. His decision led to a successful career in academics, as he's taught at UMass for over 30 years and published multiple works. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, from the class of 1986, Tony Seschel. And this? Oh. I was like off.
Right, all set? Okay. So Brian threw me off a little because I was actually going to talk for 5 minutes about the weight room. So I have to kind of readjust here. So first of all, actually, you know what? I just need to do this really quickly because, you know, this is kind of neat. So I want to just say thanks to the Blue Gold Club and to the committee for considering me. And I got a voicemail last year. I was actually in last year's class, but I also appreciate the university working to, you know, allow me to bring, you know, come here so I could experience the ceremony. I wasn't able to come last year because of family wedding. But I got the voicemail from Dejan, the soccer coach, last spring. And, he just said, this is Dejan, coach at John Carroll. I've been trying to reach you. You got to give me a call back. And the first thing I thought was, they want some money for something. Then like a little bit ago, like right when I got here, I was talking to Rory O'Neill, and it was a nice conversation, but I see director of major gifts. And I just want to say, you know, in academia, we don't make that much. And I don't think you want my last name on a building, so I'll pause at that. So anyway, I will say it's kind of a surreal experience. I was, you know, just in like, it's hard to describe the emotion, you know, but it was very pleasant. And I think one of the reasons is, you know, it's been 36 years since I graduated, you know. And to suddenly have this reminder of that makes you think about, you know, where you were back then and where you are right now. I think it makes it much more profound than, you know, getting in on the first ballot. Not that I even know how these things work, but this was a total surprise. So I think one of the nicest things is like immediately I was just flooded with all these great memories of my teammates. And, you know, I think, you know, I work in academia. I'm a college professor. I'm around young people all the time. And what it really made me think about was, I came to John Carroll, I was 18 years old. I was awkward. I was, lacking in confidence, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, And my teammates, they were very welcoming. They were always very nurturing. They were very forgiving when I was obnoxious and things like that. They mentored me, as a freshman and gave me the confidence as a player. And I really grew a lot through teammates, and I'm very happy to have someone like Larry Blum. And I was just talking to Larry, and it's nice to see him after 36 years and to be able to say someone, you don't realize how important you were to me when I was 19 years old and starting out college, right? That's a big transition year. So that's really important, and it goes much, it's beyond the field. Another thing that was really nice about getting this after 36 years is my kids knew I played soccer, but they knew nothing about, how I was or if I was any good or not, And so suddenly it's like after 36 years, they're like, oh, you were actually good, So that the first time they actually had some interest. But I think the thing that this is, especially having some time to think about, having so much distance, it's amazing to look back and realize that my decision to come here to play soccer at John Carroll just altered the course of my life in ways that I could have never imagined. And it's kind of a freakish accident. It was an uninformed decision. I came here because I had a terrible, wounding experience of high school sports, and people know what that's like, right? Just coach that just hated me, that kind of stuff. And I wanted to play, and I came here, like was just said, I learned about John Carroll through a college fair. I came here, Coach Babb suggested I might have a chance of starting 4 years, and I thought, okay, I'll come here. And it's not really the best reason to think about this transitional period to your career. You're going to play soccer for 4 years. But I had, the 4 years here at John Carroll made up for all that. In a sense, it made me whole. It allowed me to prove myself. And by prove myself, I don't mean to prove myself to the world. It allowed me to prove myself to myself. It gave me a sense that, when you're 18, 19, things like that are really hard. You take things, you feel things are unfair sometimes, and they're unfair. And then other times you think, well, maybe this is just what I am. Maybe I'm not cut out. So you're always fighting that battle. And goalkeeping is a very, kind of psychologically demanding position. It's a little bit unforgiving. But I had 4 years at John Carroll at playing soccer that made up for that experience, and in a sense made me whole. My soccer career came to an abrupt end. Through playing against Bethany for 4 years, the coach at Bethany, he was from England, he had some contacts, and he actually got me a tryout for AFC Bournemouth when they were in the third division in England. They're now in the Premier League. So I went over there and had a trial with them, and while I was there, the Cleveland Force called. And I have no idea, how, I can't even remember how they got a hold of me, but, I decided I would go back for that tryout, so I stayed in England for a while, continuing to train with Bournemouth, and came back, and I had a really good tryout. I was there, I was one of 5 or 6 goalkeepers that started, and I was, I think, the only one that was Division III. I think they were all Division I goalkeepers. And I made it through series of cuts, and I was one of the last 2. And Basically, we were told, that the two of us, that one of us would be the reserve goalie for the Force that year, and the other would be sent off to play with this new club in Toledo, the Toledo Pride. And I haven't understood this decision for a very long time. I walked away from it. I just went in one day and I told them, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And the reason why was I had, talked to my college professors that week, and I just realized this wasn't for me. And the reason why is looking at it now, I realize the reason why is John Carroll gave me this chance to prove myself, but I was only trying to prove myself to myself. And I realized that, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. And I also realized that I walked away because I needed to know unconsciously, I think, that me making this choice to go to grad school, to go to school for 8 more years, to get a PhD, it had to be a choice. It wasn't something that was just a second alternative. And for that, I want to talk about, just very briefly, I want to thank my English faculty, especially James Magner. I'm sure some of you who are older people here remember James Magner, and David LaGuardia. And I will say this is, the other profound thing about John Carroll for me is that I was not a great student. I was smart, but I was not a great student. And thankfully, my faculty at John Carroll, especially Dr. Magner, Dr. Guardia, they saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. And that's something really powerful when you have someone that will tell you, after class, you're good at this. You could do this. You should think about grad school. And even though I didn't have a stellar undergrad career, I was at the Forest and I went to see them. I was in this tryout and I went to see them and I was like, can I do a master's here? And I hadn't applied and they said, yeah, we'll let you take courses next semester and you can be in conditionally for 1 semester and prove yourself and you'll be admitted to the program. And I did. I took 3 courses, got all A's, straight A's for the first time in my life, right? And I was on my way, and so looking back, it's really strange to think that this utterly uninformed decision to come here because I had this need, to prove myself on the soccer field, sets me on a path for where I am today. And I will say that, I'm very, I think this is one of the nice things about being 36 years, in the rearview mirror is I can look and I can say, I'm incredibly thankful for the life I have. And I know that, this is because of my experience at John Carroll. And so thank you very much, and thanks to the John Carroll community. I hope I haven't spoken too long, but thank you.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee took the John Carroll softball program to new heights. Brittany Danilov attended Canfield High School and was a star for the Cardinals, leading Canfield to the 2008 OHSAA Division II state championship. The accomplished pitcher chose John Carroll because of the excellent academics, especially the accounting program. From the start of her career, Danilov was a phenom. In her freshman year, she set all kinds of school records, including the marks for shutouts, wins, and innings. The OAC named her the Rookie of the Year and Pitcher of the Year, a rare feat. After helping the team make the OAC tournament in 2009, Danilov had more planned for 2010. She served again as the ace, leading the team in innings and strikeouts. The dominant pitcher took JCU to the OAC Tournament Championship. And for the first time ever, JCU softball won the OAC tournament. It was a very special moment for both her and the program. However, the rules at the time gave the bid to the NCAA tournament to the regular season champ, so JCU didn't go to the big dance. Still, the banner was hung in the rafters here in the DeCarlo Center. Her junior year saw plenty more success, again with the OAC Pitcher of the Year award. Danilov mowed down hitters left and right all year with her devastating pitches in the cycle, but the team did not raise a trophy. In 2012, Danilov and the Blue Streaks put it all together. She was simply unhittable. Records fell and hitters couldn't touch her. With Danilov pitching just about every game and the vast majority of innings, JCU roared into the tournament. And this time, the Blue Streaks got the trophy and the automatic bid to the big dance. But Danilov is not defined by her records, which are too many to tell from this lectern. Her academic achievements are what she's proud of: Academic All-American and the Clyde Lamb Award, the NCAA Woman of the Year nomination. And for all of her accolades, what means the most to her is having made her family proud. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, from the class of 2012, Brittany Danilov.
Hello. Mine's going to be quite the opposite, very quick, very quick. Thank you. First, I did just want to say thank you to the committee for selecting me. This is such an honor and something I really have always dreamed of. I actually had a professor tell me once that I was majoring in softball and minoring in accounting. It was not Dr. Welke, don't attack him, but it made me laugh then, and it makes me laugh even harder now. He was kind of right. So being inducted into the Hall of Fame really got me reflecting on a lot of things in life, and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to talk about in this speech. And quite frankly, I am not the best at talking about my feelings, so if I start crying, just don't mind me. I thought about talking about life lessons learned from softball, what it means to be a Blue Streak, and my time here at John Carroll. But ultimately, what I want to take this time to do is thank my parents, Tim and Sally, and my Uncle Brian. This honor is as much for you as it is for me, and I don't think I've ever really thanked you properly for everything that you've done and continue to do for me. Oh, here we go. My dad put a pitching mound and a home plate in our backyard so that I could practice at any time. My mom often played interference when I got mad at my dad for no reason. I had a very bad temper. And my uncle, though he did catch for me a few times when I was angry with my dad for no reason, he did catch for me a few times, but he was mostly the one that would kick my ass in the weight room or on the track or in a park or really anywhere. This man can make a workout out of anything. So in all three of them, the travel, the time, the money, the early mornings, the snacks between games. Food is one of my love languages, and my mom always brought, cheese, salami, fresh fruit for me to have between games. Finding me the best coaches and the best teams to play on. As a mom of two little boys now, I do not know how you guys did it. You always put me first. You guided me, taught me. You have always been right by my side, never wavered and never left. And yes, I've had great softball teammates through the years, but you three and all of my other family and friends who have become family, you are my true teammates. And you have all taught me what it truly means to be a teammate and for life. And so I also want to take this opportunity to say to my kids, LJ and Eli, I promise to be your teammates for life. And not just any teammates, the kind of teammates that my family and friends have taught me to be. The kind with unwavering loyalty. We may be a tiny little 3-person team now, but you boys also have the overwhelming love and support from the same people I do. And I do want to name them real quick. Sally, Tim, Timmy, Uncle Brian, Linda and Greg, Audra, Liz, Kelsey, Courtney, Kate, Mandy, Jenna, Mara, Justine, Anoka, Corey, Aaron, Sam, Madeline, Tracy, and Gabby. Thank you all so much for your love and support throughout the years. I'm so honored to be in the Hall of Fame, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without each and every one of you, so thank you.
At this time, we would like to welcome a special guest to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Melissa Wenzler, class of 1990 and 2009, Assistant Director of Enrollment and the wife of the late Chris Wenzler. Melissa will present the Blue Gold Club's second annual Chris Wenzler Award.
Good evening. Congratulations to all of the new inductees. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. I also want to take a quick moment to thank the staff of Parkhurst for that delicious meal and their wonderful service tonight, so thank you. So last year we celebrated the Blue Gold Club's first ever Wenzler Award recipient, Michael Edelman. And after last year's ceremony honoring him, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. And I thought to myself, it's going to be really difficult to match Michael for the next Wenzler Award. Well, enter Jamie Daly. Jamie has been a Wenzler warrior since he arrived at John Carroll. He worked in the office for Chris and later for Joe. He did everything that was asked of him and more, always willing to go beyond the call of duty to help. As a cross-country and track and field athlete, he was quite literally always willing to go that extra mile. It's one thing to have talent. Lots of people in this world have talent. But to maximize that talent with hard work is another thing entirely. For much of his running career, Jamie was right behind Alex Phillip. Jamie pushed Alex to become better, and as Alex and Coach Kyle Basista will tell you, Jamie is a major reason why Alex and the team did so well last year. But individually, Jamie was always runner-up. But that changed this past May in the final race of his JCU career, actually almost in our backyard at Spire. In the 5K in the NCAA championships, Jamie seized his chance at greatness. After a grueling 10K a couple days before, Jamie hung around the front of the pack in the 5K to start. He bided his time, and with just 100 meters to go, Jamie found another gear. Down the last 50 meters, Jamie sprinted with a little bit of help from above, and he crossed that finish line, winning a national championship. It's not the victory that makes Jamie special. It's his hard work and dedication behind the scenes that make it possible. That silent striving, staying that extra half an hour to finish those bios, working the extra sports information event, helping a teammate after practice. You know, Chris was defined by his care for the Blue Streaks and all that he put in to making sure that our athletes got the accolades that they deserved. And Jamie is much like that as well. His heart is as big as Chris's was, which is why I'm very, very proud to present Jamie with the Chris Wenzler Award. Jamie?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. It was a true big honor to have that dedicated to me. I mean, I was welcomed at Pizzazz by Melissa and Joe, and they struck me with the surprise, and I had no idea once again. So a big thank you to Melissa and Joe for giving me this big honor, and But as soon as I became a John Carroll Blue Streak, I was just amazed by the culture, community, and what it had to offer. And stepping in was Chris, someone who pushed me to become the ultimate student athlete I wanted to be. And everything he's done for me on a personal level is just something I've always grown special to my heart, and I couldn't be more blessed to have met him and his family, and then Joe stepping in. I mean, words can't describe how much I miss working for Joe and working for everyone who's involved in the sports information department, and to Kyle and to Jordan and to every single one of my teammates who has been a part of this Blue Streak journey. I can't thank them enough. They've pushed me to be the ultimate student athlete I wanted to be, my number one goal all along. And I think as time went by, as me to be being the best student athlete I can be, I mean, I always thought about that why. And the why has always been Chris Wenzler, someone who's done so much for the community and has the definition of hard work and tradition and everything that embodies John Carroll. All to him and to everyone who's been a part of the journey. With much love, thank you very much, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next inductee, Jim Mitchell, only played 3 seasons for the Blue Streaks, but he left an oversized mark on JCU football history. Initially a walk-on at Indiana University, Jim suffered a season-ending injury before the first game of his freshman year. He got hurt again during the first spring game of that same year, requiring serious surgery and rehab. Jim returned to Cleveland to finish up college at John Carroll and to be closer to his mom, who had been diagnosed with breast cancer. He had no intention of playing football as he was still recovering from surgery and his last injury. Head coach Tony DiCarlo had known Jim for a while, as Jim and Tony Jr. played Pee Wee football together back in the day. After encouragement from Coach DiCarlo, Jim will add more to that story, Mitchell was back to playing football in the '87 season. He rediscovered his love for the game while playing for the Blue Streaks. During this season, he learned how good people were and formed bonds with his coaches. He was nervous to get back into football at first, but his coaches worked with him to help him be successful. In 1988, Jim finished 3rd on the team in tackles and earned AP and Pizza Hut Honorable Mention All-American honors. Jim was named captain of the team that season, something he didn't expect, as he was quite quiet but a hard worker. He liked that opponents did not know him and his abilities yet, but that changed in his senior season. His leadership was important in 1989 when they went up against rivals like Baldwin Wallace and big names like Dayton. The team earned their first ever OAC crown that season and qualified for the NCAA Division III championship. Jim again finished 3rd in tackles for the Blue Streaks and earned All-American honors. While his coaches made a clear impact on him, others on campus played a significant role in his time at JCU as well. Reverend Casey Bukala encouraged him to do his best academically, and Reverend John Schiegel saw him as more than an athlete. After studying political science, Jim's career took a different path. He owns Mad Jim Trucking, a small trucking company, and Jim is also a senior vice president of logistics and distribution for M Design. Please welcome to the John Carroll Athletic Hall of Fame from the class of 1990, Jim Mitchell.
Can't believe they're giving me the mic. I'm sorry. I'm also a crier. It's going to be tough to get through this. But thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me. I understand it's tough when you're a safety and you play in a tremendous defense, right? All you get is the cleanup. So I thank you for remembering what I did. And 32 years to do it, right? Stokes, when did you get inducted? Yeah. So 2000, same age though, right? We got the same age, right? Yeah. But it's funny, after 32 years, I have a good perspective looking back, right? I look back at the time I had here. I look back at where I was, where my teammates were, where this organization was, and where they are now. You know, I owe so much to so many people, my parents. Tough. You know, my dad fought in World War II and in Korea. So, you know, that's how I grew up. There was never anything that was too hard that he would tell me, you know what? I came through after the first troops hit the beach at Normandy, and I worked my way through Europe. So what do I have to complain about? Not much. Nothing much. Thank you. So my sister's here, Terry, thank you. Dedicated her life to teaching little kids Catholic education at St. Pascal's University, preschool. I told you, don't give me this mic, it's dangerous. And she has 5 great kids, we're so close, not even funny. My brother-in-law, Chucky, John Carroll University graduate. He has his wife, Kelly, and his 3 daughters, mean everything to me. My mother-in-law, Mom, brought me into her life, even though I wasn't Italian. Made me her son. I have 2 great kids. Madison is in Chicago with her first job, kicking butt. My son is in OSU, junior, living life large. My wife, sorry, I know. They call her Saint Mary. I should say I don't know why. I do know why they call her Saint Mary. She means everything to me. So I'm sorry again, I told you I was a crier. So how did I get here? You know, it wasn't a straight path. I went to Indiana University as a walk-on. You know, a Big Ten, that's where I wanted to be. Gave it all. I got hurt right before the first game. Went to therapy, came back, missed the whole season, but came back stronger, faster, bigger. That's what we did. Bigger, stronger, faster. That's all you had to do. Work out harder, recoup, come back stronger. So in spring, I got hurt again. And this time, it was for real. When I went to, I didn't realize how bad I got hurt until I realized I was going to occupational therapy before I went to physical therapy. That's not good, right? I can't tell you this story, but I actually sat down. They were trying to have me pour tea into a little cup and do this crap. I was so angry I couldn't even, I feel sorry for a lady who had to deal with me. But I was like, oh no, this is it. Occupational therapy. Ugh. So at that time, my mom actually got diagnosed with cancer as well. So I was like, this is it, man, I'm done. Football's done. I gave it my best, gave it my all, but it was done. So what did I do? I decided I was going to come back home, get a good education at John Carroll for like a year. Because, I had too much energy. I knew I had to do something. I was either going to grab a surfboard, go out west, or my skis, hit the mountains, climb. That was my plan. But I always say the best joke is if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plan is, right? So right around the corner here, I enrolled in John Carroll University. I walked around the corner, working out. Tony, Coach D, came into the weight room and said, "Jimmy, how are you doing?" "Great, Coach." He goes, "You know I want to be the head coach at football. I want to take over football." I'm like, "I kind of heard." And he said, "You know, I'm gonna change the program. I'm tired of them losing. Tired of being at the bottom of the heap. I'm gonna change the uniforms. I'm recruiting. I'm gonna bring in some good coaches. We're gonna turn this program around. What do you think? How are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good, Coach." I said, he goes, "What, you think you want to play football again?" I go, "No, I don't think so." I go, "My wrist, last time I checked, I haven't been cleared. The bone graft hasn't healed very well. I don't think it's going to happen." So he looked and he goes, "Well, you're lifting, you know, you're on the bench press, you're doing pretty well." I said, "Well, I don't know." He didn't give up at that point. He said, "I know a friend at the clinic, hand surgeon. Would you be willing to go and get checked out by him?" I said, "Okay, Coach, I'll do that." So Coach D picks me up, drives me to the clinic, to his hand surgeon. Go in there. Guy comes back out and goes, "Oh no, you know, it's messed up. Your hand's messed up. Not good." Laser look Tony gives him, right? Awkward moment. Coach goes, or the doctor goes, "You could play in a cast, Jimmy, if you want." I go, "I'm not playing in a cast." Silence. Dead silence. Doctor here, Tony here, looking at the, you know, and I don't know what we're going to do. So the doctor comes back and says, "Well, it's so messed up, I don't think you can do any more damage to it. Jimmy, if you want to play, I don't know." And in my mind, that worked. It worked. I was like, you know what? I think, you know, I got to get over this injury, man. I don't know. So the ride back, I didn't tell anybody that, but yeah, no, it worked. So the ride back, small talk the whole way. How's this? I'm going to do this. We got this guy coming back. Tony's selling the program to me. And the whole time I'm thinking, how do I tell him I'm not going to play? I'm done. I've been done. I gave it my all. I'm done. Don't want to play anymore, Coach. But I didn't say that to him. And when he left, he dropped me off. He goes, "Jim, I got a question. Will you play for me?" So, where's the 89 coaches? Regis, you here? You stand up. The 89 coaches, Tim? Where's the 89 coaches? Stand up. I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to. Don, where are you at? He's drinking shots and all right, Don, thank you. No, so I got to tell you, we had the right coaches at the right time in the right place. This wasn't only me. We'll talk about my brothers here in a little bit. 1989. There was a mixed bag. Broken, cocky. I don't know. We were all individuals, but the coaches brought us together as a team. We learned to work, we learned together. You know, there's no scholarships that get pulled here. You want to talk about, someone talked about going out, you know, Thursday nights or whatever we did. We knew, don't go out Thursday nights too much or they were going to punish us. We went out on Thursday nights, we got punished. That's just the relationship we had. They knew, but we worked together. We had a common goal. We just wanted to play football. We wanted to win. How about my 89 brothers? Can you stand? Give him a round. Yeah. So I know they know how I feel about them, I hope. It's not about me talking to them. They know the stories. I can't tell you the stories I want to tell you. I could, we'd be in trouble. But we shared a goal. Some of us were broken. Some of us came from all over. But we had one common goal. We loved football. We wanted to play together. Late Catholic, Benedictine, we hated each other. But somehow the coaches brought us together, and we became brothers. So I would talk about the season. This is great story. We start out 1989. Let's just skip over a few years. 1989. We thought we were good. And then coach tells us he booked our first game against University of Buffalo. Going D1. We're like, oh no. We think we're good, right? We think we're good. But we don't know how good we are yet. Kurt Gaber and I were driving up on the bus going, man, what a risk. Tony's taking this risk. If we lose this game, oh no, we're going to tank. We're going to tank. But if we win, I'll tell you the rest of that story. So we get off the bus, and Kurt and I are still like, oh no, I don't know now. Uh-oh. Because we see more track guys, wide receivers, defensive backs, tackles, tight ends, shot putters, right? We got track guys, we got shot putters, we got discus players. Buffalo has been building up to their D1 status. They just didn't walk into it. And we saw right after we got the bus, we're like, uh-oh, this is going to be a challenge. 80-degree weather. So we go at it. You know, my 19, there's legends in the group. We talk about London Fletcher. He's the second best linebacker at John Carroll University. Sorry, Stokes, you are the best. D3, there's no one better. The legend Larry Wonke, Willie Beers, I can name them all. I don't know how many people do we have in the Hall of Fame? 6 or 7 out of that season. So, as we go in this game, I'm going to talk about Kurt. He was my workout buddy, my pal. We worked everywhere together. Strong corner. They just running him off every play, running him off. He's come back going, oh my God, I'm dying. Dude, I can't do it. And if Volker was here, Volker would put his hands on his shoulder pads and go, Kurt, just get it done. Just get it done. And he would come back and say, oh my God, and we got to change coverage here. I'm like, dude, man, this tight end's coming up here. There's nothing we could do. Suck it up, bro. And he did. He shut down like 3 or 4 wide receivers and shut down, I think you shut down every receiver you ever covered throughout the whole year, Kurt. Thank you. My strong corner. And then Farber, I got to mention him. He comes in, free safety, young guy. He had big shoes to fill. And I think Stokes, did he pick off one right before the end of the game? Right? Farber's picked off a pass, turned the game around. Larry Wonke, a couple seconds left, threw a pass to Gary Name. We won the game, and we were on fire. On fire. Coach's gamble paid off. Because not only were we worried about what we were going to do, we were on fire. It doesn't happen by chance. So as the season progressed, we just rolled. We rolled over people. We really did. We were rolling over people. and I could step back and I could see a transformation taking place in the organization. It was at first that we'd be on kickoffs, punt return, everything. And pretty soon, the younger guys were coming up, filling those roles. And as we rolled over teams and we were sitting on the bench drinking Kool-Aid, we'd look out and see the younger guys coming up. And it was like, you know what? This doesn't end in '89. This is a movement. These guys get it. So we rolled through a couple games, and it comes to Mount. And I can tell you what, my boys didn't want to win that game. We wanted to destroy them. And we did. But what? Because we knew they didn't respect us. And we knew they had the crown, and we wanted that crown. Joey Bain played out of his shoes, running, hitting the quarterback, pressure. Brian Cochran, Ryan Del Ciato, not giving up an inch. I remember coming in the second quarter, I reached over, I picked up the running back, and I could tell in his eyes he was done. I don't think he's ever been hit so hard so many times. It was over. I knew. I could tell in his eyes. He didn't want any more. So history was made by the class of '89. We did our mission accomplished. That's game over. So now as I reflect back, I'm so proud of this organization. I look at my team and the teams that came through, and I'm like amazed. I don't know how many CEOs of organizations there are. Doesn't matter. I know there's a bunch. There's a bunch of presidents, business owners, coaches. How many are in the NFL now? How many coaches are in the NFL? 41. 41. I can tell you, we were at the tip of that spear. Saw that organization change, and it wasn't by chance. If you're a coach or if you're out there, take the extra step. It's worthwhile. And by the way, 32 years later, Coach asked me a question. He asked me if I'd play football for him. I said yes, and I would still say yes today. I would say hell yes. Thank you, Coach.
All right, cross country and track and field run in Matt Nortz's blood. His dad, Matt, was Matt's coach as early as 5 years old, using his skills as a high school coach. Matt has 3 siblings who all ran growing up and in college. A Jesuit education was important to Nortz. His dad attended University of Detroit, which is another Jesuit school. And Matt also knew John Carroll would be a good fit, as several of his high school classmates spoke very highly of JCU. He had a slow start in his athletic high school career, so he was ready to work hard and grow mentally and physically at John Carroll. When he made it to campus, Matt worked hard to get into the 4x400 relay in his freshman year. He continued to be successful in the relay his sophomore year, staying in the relay while also becoming a leader for the team. Matt received all OAC honors in the event, placing second in the outdoor and indoor championship meets. He looked up to the guys on the team that served as mentors, following those that were more mature mentally and physically. He followed their lead and began to play a larger role on the team. In his junior year, he began to work harder, eventually earning all OAC honors of his own in the 800-meter race, again placing second in the outdoor and indoor championships. In the indoor championships his senior year, Matt won the 500 and the 1,000-meter races, earning most outstanding track athlete and setting an OAC record in the 500-meter race. That spring, Matt won the 800 and the 15. In his senior year, he earned all OAC honors for the 4x400 relay. In all, he earned a total of 10 all OAC honors and was a 4-time OAC champion. Cross country and track and field continue to be important to Matt. Although he originally studied marketing, he now coaches boys cross country and is the assistant coach for the boys and girls track and field at Avon. He teaches 6th grade science. He credits his dad as a big influence on him and a large reason why he coaches today. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame from the class of 1993, Matt Nortz.
It's an honor to be standing here tonight. It's really nice listening to some of these impromptu speeches, some of these long, funny speeches. Tony, Joe, Brittany, Jim, thanks for sharing your stories. I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep it short. That was my original plan. I'm not going to veer off too much, but I do want to share my experience and how I got to be where I was at John Carroll, and really what John Carroll meant to me as a student athlete. When I started running at John Carroll my freshman year, I never imagined this being the point where I'd be. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee and the late Chris Wensler for nominating me. I'm honored to be a part of this elite athletic history. Receiving this honor, although I'm extremely grateful, did honestly make me feel a little uncomfortable when I found out at first. I felt as I was being rewarded for just being a good athlete, but then I thought about it for a while and how I got to this point. I'm thankful for my siblings who made me tougher, always looked out for me. Being the youngest of 12 children, my 7 sisters and 4 brothers were collectively like my parents. My brother Pat pushed me on runs. My sister Kathy, who's here tonight, is always supportive to this day. And my sister Megan, who is the most successful runner I know, gave me inspiration and motivation to be my best. I want to thank my wife, Holly, for coming tonight, my son, John, my daughter, Ellie, who's a junior in high school, couldn't make it tonight. So my sister, Kathy, is sitting in for her. My parents, they sent us all through Catholic schools up to grade 8. 8 of us went to Catholic high schools as well, and I graduated from St. Ed's in 16 years of Catholic education after John Carroll. It molded me into who I am today. My coach was here at JCU was Don Stupika for track, 8 seasons of indoor-outdoor, not including indoor for cross-country and track. After my junior year, he convinced me I was going to quit. And my junior year, I wanted to play rugby. And so I played rugby for, I wasn't going to really talk too much about it, but since Tony and Joey go off and talk all about everything in the world, I figured I'd veer off a little bit. Yeah, I went out for rugby. It lasted all about 2 days. To this day, I have a little lump right here on my shoulder. That's a testament to it. And I, with my tail between my legs, I dragged myself into right over here into Coach Topeka's office and said, "Can I run cross country again?" And he said, basically, before that, he told me, just basically, you need to add responsibilities. You can't detract from what you're doing. You need to make sure that you're working hard, and the harder you work, the more responsibilities you have, the more success you'll have, and the better gratification. And it was hard for me to understand that by adding more, you'd get more out of it, and he taught me that, and I was thankful for that. I looked up to my mom, how patient she was. She showed me how to make do. For a couple of years, she was like a coach in grade school for track and cross country for the girls in the neighborhood. I never recall my mom yelling, except shouts of encouragement for me. She'd always just yell, "Go, Matt!" And it just stuck in my head all the time. It's indelible. Having passed away in 2019, having raised 12 kids, she's my model of patience. My dad, Bill Nortz, in my mind and many others, was a legend. Hall of Fame CYO coach, committed to his family, his church, and of course, coaching running. He was my coach for the better of 6 years at St. Clement in Lakewood, and the coach of hundreds of others that moved on to be successful, in which I was one of them. I tagged along with him to just about every meet he went to. He gave his children the choice of where we wanted to go to school and figured out how to take care of it later, how to get it done. He never skimped on what was important. Whether it were running shoes or education, he took care of us. As a high school coach now, from shadowing my dad, I found my inspiration in his strength, commitment, and passion for the sport of running. I did not realize at that age how lucky I was to have parents like them until later in my life. We take for granted our blessings and what we have. I was truly blessed to grow up in a family of 11 other siblings that love each other and have supportive parents. I was blessed with health and athletic talent. I was blessed to have the opportunity to study and compete here at John Carroll. I've spoken to many about my experience here at JCU, and I'd say it was perfect for me. It allowed me to have more personalized educational experience while still having the chance to compete at a high level. I was able to run in meets and not sit out. I was always able to run in meets throughout my whole 4 years. I was not the top of the conference when I arrived, but by the end, through hard work and perseverance, I finally reached those goals. I was much more than a track athlete. I was a student athlete, I was a runner, committed to running. My teammates made my experience unbelievable. Whether we were streaking the campus, whether they were my fellow cross-country guys, we did the first annual and the last annual Blue Streak of John Carroll. Not many know about it except for the security guards that were chasing us. We hung out with throwers, Tim Jewett's over there, jumpers, sprinters from track. We all knew each other and got along. Although I'm not sure if I was put on this team in the same body today, I would be able to hang with such elite group of runners like some of those guys. I'd like to think I would be able to. I'm happy to say I'm part of this program's history. In my conversation with the current track and cross country coach, Kyle Basista, about how records no longer are standing, we talked about how these achievements and the achievements of all you guys who are being inducted into the Hall of Fame, they're important stepping stones for sports teams. Congratulations to the 2002 team and all the other individuals being inducted tonight. And once more, thank you for this nomination and including me in this wonderful event. Go Streaks.
All right, we've got some history to be witnessed tonight. For the first time ever, we are inducting a women's golfer in the John Carroll Athletic Hall of Fame. Women's golf, yeah, go for it. Women's golf is one of the newer sports at JCU, originating in 1999. Only lacrosse and women's wrestling are more recent additions to the JCU sports family. Without a doubt, Amanda Shannon is the GOAT of JCU women's golf. But Amanda Shannon nearly didn't play at John Carroll. The Chicago native was burned out with golf after high school. She chose JCU for academics and academics alone. In fact, she left her clubs at home her freshman year. Though over the course of the years, she started to become friends with some of the women on the team. Before her sophomore year move-in, Amanda's parents asked her, "Do you want to bring your clubs this year?" Amanda said no, and she moved into her dorm. But then the hunger to compete became too much to ignore. So Amanda had her parents ship her clubs to University Heights just a few days after the start of school. Amanda eased her way back into the sport at first, then got serious about being the best. During her junior year, Amanda started to show signs of greatness, particularly in the spring. Shannon finished as the runner-up at the 2007 OAC Championships, earning all OAC honors. Her senior year was very special. In the fall of 2007, Shannon won the John Carroll Fall Invitational and Yellow Jacket Invite. That was just a preview of what was in store for the spring season. At the 2008 OAC Championships, Amanda made history. She recorded a 2-day total of 161 to win the OAC medalist honors. She is the first and still the only JCU women's golfer to finish first at the OAC Championship. And just as Amanda made history in 2008, she does so again tonight. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, from the class of 2008, Amanda Shannon.
Thank you very much. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but just want to thank the committee as well as congratulations to the fellow inductees tonight. I'm extremely honored when I first received this call. This was not anything I was expecting, but was quite a shock and a huge honor to be a part of this. As it was mentioned, my intention was not to play golf within the collegiate athletic career here, but when I chose John Carroll, really wanted just to come here because I enjoyed the community, the campus, and had some fellow family that came here and just really loved the campus when I came and visited. After meeting a few people, it became evident that I took my freshman year off and that I missed that competitive edge, and was really happy just to really get to know more individuals and join the team from that perspective. So coming here was just, quite the honor that I had. I have a few fellow teammates here with me tonight, and after joining the team my sophomore year, I really knew that it was something I wanted to focus on and do the best that I could here at John Carroll, and knew that there wasn't really a champion that had that OAC honor previously, and focused on trying to bring that here back home tonight. So that was really a goal that I had. Being the first female inductee is something I never imagined, never really thought of from that. So a very big honor. I really, from that perspective, came into that last day on that OAC championship when I was a senior and looked at the competition, and although I wasn't in that final group, there was this edge and just focus that I had and wanted to bring that back here to John Carroll. And looking at that, it was a competitive focus that I had with my team, something that I knew that they really wanted me to achieve, and I was really happy to come back on from that perspective. So, I look back at my career here and just growing up in the golf community. I started playing golf when I was about 6 or 7 years old. It was something that my older brothers played. I wanted to be like them and focus on, and I want to thank them specifically for trying to be competitive, but knowing that I can still beat them to this day is something I really enjoy. My younger sister, for not necessarily being the athlete in the family, but someone that was always a huge support for me. To my teammates, a couple of them, like I said, that are here today, thanking them for just pushing me to be better. Like I said, they were the reasons that I met them freshman year, early sophomore year, that really pushed me to join the team and be able to get here today. And having their friendship and support and encouragement is huge, so thank you. I appreciate that. To my parents, you know, the drives that we had across the state of Illinois to the various golf tournaments, golf lessons, golf practices, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been a great role model to me, a great support system, and always my biggest supporters in every tournament, whether it was driving here to John Carroll or throughout my high school career. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me, so thank you, and I love you guys. And just to the John Carroll community, again, being the first inductee from the women's golf is just an absolute honor, and to have that ability to show other young golfers and women that are coming here to John Carroll that this is a growing program and something that we can continue to build here at John Carroll is just something I'm very proud of, and that there's a great goal that they continue to work towards. It's fantastic. So hope that that is something that we can continue to see grow here at John Carroll, and something I'm extremely appreciative of. So again, thank you. Congratulations to the other inductees, and thank you to the committee, and Coach Moran, thank you for nominating me. I really appreciate it.
All right, our next inductee, I know this guy, Corey Shantz. They say no one writes handwritten cards anymore. Well, it may or may not surprise you that Mike Moran still does. And that's why Corey Shantz is here today. Corey is originally from Pittsburgh, but a move to Ohio led to plenty of attention from local schools. Certain schools contacted him near daily, hoping the star guard could be a cornerpiece of a championship contender. Mike Moran and his coaching staff simply sent Corey handwritten notes. And that human touch, along with the excellent academics, is what led Corey to choose JCU. Initially, it took Corey a bit to get used to the famed 5-in, 5-out method that made Mike Moran and the Blue Streaks famous. But once he did, he thrived. And the team immediately enjoyed success. The Blue Streaks won the 2009 OAC Tournament Championship and made a deep run into the NCAA tournament. During that magical postseason run, Corey and his teammates set the goal of returning to the promised land to enjoy the feeling again, and they did indeed. The Blue Streaks got back to the NCAA tournament again in 2010 with a stout front court complemented by a strong back court. But due to injury and adversity, the Blue Streaks needed to rely on Shantz in 2011. The guard did not disappoint, earning another All-OAC First Team award. With Shantz leading the way, the Blue Streaks captured the OAC regular season championship for the second time in 3 years. And I can remember the basketball team buying everyone drinks after that. Shantz saved his best for last during his senior year. Another first-team All-OAC award followed, along with a third OAC regular season championship. With Shantz slashing to the bucket and passing to teammates like Joe Meyer, the Blue Streaks enjoyed a marvelous season. The season brought out not only team success, but individual records and recognition. Corey is not big on individual awards, but one that was particularly meaningful was his All-American recognition, as well as being recognized on the National All-Jesuit team. Shantz shared that honor with fellow Jesuit hoops legends Doug McDermott and Jay Crowder. In basketball, being an All-American is a very difficult honor to achieve, as despite all of the success during the Mike Moran era, Shantz is JCU's only All-American. But JCU gave Shantz more than just awards. He met his wife, Julie Ryback, class of 2011, here at JCU. Julie worked for Chris doing basketball stats, and Corey's professional career sprang from John Carroll. Corey approached the dad of one of his best friends, Tommy Lavelle, for a job, and Mr. Lavelle gladly accepted, of course. So this is a high honor for Corey. After getting the call from Mike Moran on St. Patty's Day of all days, Corey reflected, "Being a first ballot Hall of Famer is an honor, but this is a team award." Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame from the class of 2012, Corey Shantz.
All righty. Well, I am not much of a speaker. I promise you that. Joe, I will be able to reflect on some of your comments about Moran. They did not change from the 97 season to the years that I was there. I would like to thank the committee for allowing me this opportunity. I'm going to be honest, I did not expect that I would be up here. I thought I would make it with my team, which some people over there may argue they had better teams. I think my team will go down as the winningest team in history. So I was assuming that I would be up here with all of my other teammates, so now I'm here on my own. It's a great honor. One of the major reasons I'm up here is because someone else isn't up here, and that was Matt Crozier, who was probably the best basketball player I ever played with. He was pretty much a staple in our offense that allowed me to do whatever I wanted because everyone focused on him. And if you're a point guard and you have good shooters like Joe and Mike and a big guy down there to stop it, it's basically an open court. So without him and everybody else playing, there's no chance I would be even up here. I'd like to thank some of the people that came out to see me. Tommy, Gabby was so polite to us. Tom, the owner of the company, is with me. Tommy was one of my best friends as soon as I got here, and it's one of those things, you never know what happens in your life until it happens later. I didn't know what John Carroll was when I moved to Ohio. Didn't know it until Mike Moran wrote me a handwritten letter asking me to become a point guard for the John Carroll Blue Streaks. Still had no idea. It's one of those things. I'm not a big religious person, so I didn't notice Jesuit schools, didn't know all these things. So the fact that I had individual coaches handwriting letters, giving me time to read it, I thought that was incredible. And it was mainly not the only reason, but one of the main reasons I chose to come to John Carroll. Another person I'd like to thank is Pat Sweeney, who came out to us. If it wasn't for Pat's family, I don't know that the freshman team would have been as close as we were every weekend. As young basketball players and kids in college, you have no money, you don't really have much food. The Sweeney family was kind enough to feed us alongside with their other 4 boys. So we became very, very close-knit and relied on everybody. So when you're talking about basketball, chemistry is massive, and the chemistry we built for those 4 years led to us being very successful and only losing one time in the OAC tournament for my years. Another person that most people wouldn't know is Charlie Dugan, and if it wasn't for him and somebody else, Chris Wensler, I would not have met my wife probably. Chris was lucky enough to hire my wife to do stats, so that might also play a role why I'm up here as a first ballot. She controlled turnovers and assists, so if it was a good day, I may have got more assists. If I was mean to her, I may have got more turnovers. So I can't say yes or no, but Charlie was actually one of on the coaching staff helping us out, and it was one of those days where I noticed her, she noticed me, and I went to Charlie and said, hey, who's the girl you were just talking to? She's really cute. And he looked at me and said, are you serious? Focus on the game. But she literally just asked me the same thing, who was number 15. From that point on, I said, oh, I got to get an inside track. So luckily for us, I spoiled our 6th anniversary tomorrow because of this. So sorry for that, but if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today, having 2 beautiful children who are at home, thankfully. I'm usually not up this late anymore with 2 little ones, so bear with me. I mentioned Chris. Chris played a valuable lesson. Melissa, thank you so much. You've always been close with the Shantz family. I know Ryback, she follows into me now. They've always been there for us, and we can't say enough for Chris and you, Melissa. We love you both. As far as some of these stories that go that you guys talked about, I was the guy from Ashtabula that no one really knows about, and Ashtabula doesn't get much love. However, there is another person from Ashtabula on the Hall of Fame list for basketball, and it's Andy Jahola, so there aren't too many people. I will tell a couple stories about Moran. One of them was I missed practice as a freshman. I was late. He didn't say a word to me, just, because we're running. I don't care. You're going to keep running. after practice, I get called in, and it's like going to the principal's office. You know you disappointed him and what's going to happen. All he said was, why'd you miss practice? Or why were you late? And I told him, I did not hear my alarm. And his comment back to me, I don't know if you remember, Coach, was, that's right, you're from Ashtabula. We'll have to get you a rooster to wake you up in the morning. Never heard another thing, but that was just one of those things. I know the man I'm playing for, and I'll go to battle for him every day. They did mention that we did butt heads, and if you notice any of our games, you always see Moran taking his tie off and throwing it. There's always one person that causes that on the team. My year, we had two, and it was Tommy Lavelle and myself. We used to take bets on who was going to get yelled at more at halftime for mistakes. Most often it was me, but there was a couple games where Tommy took the cake on it. But it's those things that I remember over the accolades and all those things. It's the intangibles you don't think about until you're 10 years out. Like, that's shocking to me that it's 10 years from when we were playing. Another person I'd like to thank is my brother who's here. My brother was 7 years older than me. So we never really had a close-knit relationship other than him trying to beat me up the whole time to toughen me up for sports. And that obviously paid off, so I wouldn't be here without him. I did have walk-on opportunities at schools, and he was gracious enough to attend some of those with me. And at the end of the day, I realized I'm 6 foot. I'm not going anywhere outside of my career. I got to focus on what's going to be important, and that was John Carroll. Their academic was what really forced me to come here. My mother, who most people probably didn't even know she came to any game because she's the sweetest lady in the world, and she's always overshadowed by my father, who would be up in those sides, holding my nieces and nephews, cursing every word under the sun to the refs about bad plays or telling me I shouldn't have left my feet. And then, Charlie can attest to this, turning around and asking anybody in the crowd next to him if they wanted something from the snack bar, like nothing happened. And to that day, that's what Tom Lavelle became to love my father as well, and that's where he became kind of like a second dad to me. He may have only come to the games to see Tommy and I, but he really stayed because he was just wanted to see the spectacle of my father. There's 3 coaches in my life that I've had. Mike Shantz, my father. Jeremy Huber, who was my high school coach, who I grew up watching in Blackhawk, which Joe Bigler, being from Pittsburgh, he can understand with the Miller family. I grew up in that system when I moved out here. And Mike Moran. Every single one of those have persevered, but I have to apologize, Mike. There's another Mike that was my favorite coach, and it was my father. The one thing that he always told me was if it was easy, anybody could do it. And I think anybody who's ever played for him knows that those words are true for him. And it's an honor to be up here for that reason. If it was easy, anybody could be up here and doing this. It takes a lot of hard work, especially at Division III level. You don't get the credit of scholarships. No one realizes you got to do the 6 a.m. practices and then go to class like every other student and then go to work sometimes and then go to 2-a-day practices, which thankfully we canceled those after freshman success our first year. So kudos to every Division III athlete that was on here in the stadium, especially track and field. I mentioned to my brother, you guys are the ones that don't get any credit. Gabby, you were on there. Running at a Division III level is incredible too. So any athlete that's able to come up here, it's an honor. Back to my mother, she was, like I said, she was overshadowed by my father, but she was always one that I never wanted to disappoint. Always loved me, drove me to practices, drove me from Slippery Rock back to Pittsburgh, back to over here for this AAU tournament when I was playing 6 different sports. So Joe, when you're talking about driving your kids, my parents did it all over states as well, and it was something you don't think about as a kid until you realize that you have your own kids and you realize, wow, they did a lot for you because they were working full-time jobs and they did it. So I love you, Mom. I'll end it there. I couldn't have had a better career at John Carroll, and I look forward to watching the younger class come up and somebody else will maybe get here. Maybe I'll be up here with my fellow teammates from our 2012 and underclass. Tommy, you can fit in that one. Thank you.
Hector Marinero fell in love with Cleveland during his professional soccer days. Any soccer fan from his era can tell you all about his accolades and accomplishments. To this day, Hector can barely walk around Cleveland without being recognized. His career was the stuff of legends. Not long after his playing career ended, Hector got a call from his former teammate, Ali Kazamini, telling him to consider the John Carroll coaching job that Kaz just vacated. Sure enough, Lori Massa came calling, and Hector was impressed. The rest is history. But not exactly. It would take lots of hard work by Hector and his coaching staff to turn JCU men's soccer into a powerhouse. With the graduation of a strong class, the cupboard was a bit bare, so Hector hired Decky. And they got to work on recruiting. I was going to say your full name, but it's like, ain't nobody got time for that. As Hector will tell you with a smile today, it wasn't as funny then. It took a little while to get that first win. But once he did, his Blue Streaks thrived. After an 0-7-2 start in his first year in 2006, the Blue Streaks finished 5-2-2 that season. As Hector says, that got my competitive juices flowing. The next season, John Carroll won the 2007 OAC Championship to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. The Blue Streaks did not get one win, but then got bounced in penalty kicks at the end of a scoreless tie. Then sledding became tough for the Blue Streaks. Ohio Northern handed John Carroll several devastating postseason losses, and those defeats made Hector and Decky hungry. So over time, Hector and Decky built a powerhouse program, adapting and expanding, and in 2016, the work paid off. In the 2016 OAC Tournament Championship, in front of a loud crowd at the Don Shula Stadium, the Blue Streaks broke through, beating the Polar Bears in PKs 4-3. Hector's son, Jesse, was a key member of that team. Hector calls it one of the happiest soccer moments of his life, professionally or coaching. In his final few seasons, Marinero led the Blue Streaks to new heights. John Carroll won 3 straight OAC championships in 2018, 19, and the spring of 2021. In the summer of 2021, he handed the reins to his longtime friend, Decky. Hector ended his career as a 4-time OAC Coach of the Year and the winningest coach in program history. Hector's won plenty in his career, but it's the people who have made all of his wins special. Particularly coaching side by side with Decky, coaching his son Jesse, and having an impact on countless members of Hector's army. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, Hector Marinero.
Oh, Joey, where is he? I think you found someone that hates Ohio Northern more than you do. I can't stand seeing the color orange to this day. First off, I want to thank the John Carroll University Blue Gold Club and the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for this tremendous honor. I'd also like to congratulate all the fellow inductees on their Hall of Fame careers. I'm the only coach going in this year, so congratulations to all the athletes who had tremendous careers here. You know, prior to accepting this position, I had a tremendous playing career that was wonderful, had a lot of fun, and I really had to sit back and think about whether I really wanted to get into coaching at this level. And I thought long and hard. The only coaching experience I really had was coaching my 9-year-old son, Jesse, and my 7-year-old daughter, Janice. And you know, I really had to think long and hard, and it really came to me one day when, you know, I sat back and I thought, you know, if Mike Moran can coach college golf, then I can definitely coach college soccer. At least I know how to kick a soccer ball. Mike, that's payback for 15 years of rearranging my office furniture, all right? This guy walks around campus rearranging everybody's office furniture when they're out of the office. And from what I hear, you're still doing it to my my protege, Decky, and you know, listening to all the speeches tonight, there's two things, or one thing that really hits home with me, and that's the support and the tremendous leadership of family and your parents. And I was blessed to grow up in Toronto, Canada, with two wonderful parents from Argentina, and they guided us. My dad was my only soccer coach growing up, taught me everything I know about the game of soccer, and quite honestly, through my entire playing career, all I wanted to do was make my dad and my mom proud, and I think I did a pretty good job. It was like you said, with parents. My brother and I grew up to play professional soccer. My brother's here tonight. He was 5 years younger than me, so I would stick him in goal and I would shoot shots on him all day long. And he ended up being a professional soccer goalkeeper, so you're welcome. Yeah. But anybody that ever played for me at John Carroll University knows I preach family. Family is the most important thing in my life, and everybody that played for me becomes a part of my family. And we're kind of like the John Carroll soccer family mafia. You know, once you're in our family, you'll always be a part of our family, and you're always welcome back to come back to JCU. And quite honestly, tonight's a special night, but I'm honestly looking forward to tomorrow night, where it's men's soccer alumni night, where we'll be playing against Calvin, and so many of our alumni coming back into town. And it's a special day, and I look forward to seeing a lot of my ex-players. I'd like to recognize some people right now. Anybody, as the only coach being inducted today, I want to recognize some people. So anybody that coaches here at John Carroll, whether you're a head coach or assistant coach, would you please stand up? Come on, guys. I know you're here. I know you're here. So it's, we're all sitting up here. But, you know, quite honestly, there's some in the back as well, but it's not an easy thing to coach Division III athletics. A lot of hard work, and I'm amazed at the hard work that these people put into their programs. I was honored to be a part of the coaching fraternity. You guys inspired me to get better every day, and I want to thank you guys for the friendship over the 15 years that I was here. So thank you very much to my fellow coaches. Quite honestly, you know, as I said, as the only coach here, you have a lot of support that brings you to this spot right now. I want to thank a lot of the background staff that really don't get recognized here. Don McPhillips, Paul Spacuzza, Michelle Fowler, equipment managers, way back from Ray Bolger, PJ Spacuzza, our former athletic leadership team, Lori Massa, Gretchen Whitebrick, and Nancy Coyne. Where's Nancy? I saw her earlier today. She's still here, I hope. Love you, Nancy. Thank you for all your support. And our current leadership team, Michelle Morgan, Dana Funyak, that was here during my term, Russell Hauser, Candace Pluhar, who does all the dirty work in the office for you, so thank you all for your support. You know, as a coach being inducted into the Hall of Fame, like I said, there's so many people that support you over the years. There's one person that I really want to recognize, and I hope he's still here. Dr. Welke, will you please stand up? Thank you. Dr. Welke, you know, if you really want to talk about a Hall of Famer and a GOAT, this guy supports athletics, supports academics. For 15 years, every time I picked up the call when we had an issue with any one of our students, he's like, tell him to call me, I'll take care of it, and he always did. So, Dr. Welke, thank you very much for all the support over the years. The sports information team has always had a special place in the heart of the John Carroll men's soccer team. A few years ago, as everybody knows, we lost the great Chris Wensler, who was a huge supporter of our program. His family, along with Chris, is a huge part of the John Carroll soccer family. Melissa, Madeline, Oliver. He is missed every day, and I think about him often. Where's Melissa? I know she was here there you are. Thank you for the support, the soccer program. Thanks you, Chris, and your family for so many great times, for all the support over the years. We will always and forever be Wensler's Warriors, and we have Chris to thank for that. I was blessed to be supported on a daily basis by the greatest alumni, the soccer alumni family. So many people, day of giving, that give to our program, that allow us to supply all the players with all the equipment they need. And, I don't think there's been a soccer alumni that I've reached out to that has turned me down. And it's a special, special family. There's 4 people especially that I want to recognize. Hall of Famer Mike Lyons, who I saw here earlier tonight. Don Squeak McMillan from Boston. Dave Short, who you saw the tennis center is named after. And Richard Kramer, the CEO of Goodyear, who the accounting program is named after. All tremendous supporters of our program and gave generously to our program all the time. I want to thank them for their support, but more importantly for their friendship. Great people, wonderful people. And if they couldn't take care of a problem for me, they found somebody that would. The men's soccer program is special, and I learned that coming here in 2006. I really honestly knew nothing about John Carroll University and the men's soccer program. And I can't believe how much John Carroll University and the soccer program has meant to me and my family. I want to thank my fellow coaches that coached with me. There's so many guys that helped out, team managers throughout the years. Oliver Condell, Leo McIntosh, Tristan Lyles, our Louis Kostelik, numerous team managers. Decky and I came up with an idea years ago where we had to trim our roster, and instead of cutting kids, we asked them to join our coaching staff, to make them team managers, to help us out as much as they could. They would film games for us. They would scout games for us. We wanted everybody to feel a part of the family, and we really didn't want to cut any players, so it became a tremendous program. I just want to share one letter I received one summer as the head coach here. It was from a young man. His name was Kyle, and he was a senior at Padua Franciscan University. And he sent me a letter, and he said, "Dear Coach, I am a senior at Padua Franciscan High School. I'm a soccer player. I've played soccer for 4 years. I know I'm not good enough to play at your level, but I would love to be a part of your program. Is there anything that I can do to be a part of your program? Please reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything you can do." That really touched my heart. Next day, I called Kyle, and I offered him the first team manager position for us. Spent 4 years for us, and became just like one of our players. The players loved him, and from that day forward, we just started bringing more people in to help out the program, and we wanted everybody to be a part of the JCU soccer family. Little did I know, the very first decision I made as coach in 2006 would be something, by far the best decision I ever made on behalf of the JCU men's soccer program. I hired a 21-year-old senior that had just finished his senior career here at John Carroll University to be my first assistant coach. His name was Dejan Mladenovic. I knew his family from my playing days. He had just finished a stellar playing career here at John Carroll University and had a good grasp of the competition with the OAC. He was young, willing to work hard, and he came really cheap. So it was it was a very, very easy decision to hire him on. And, quite honestly, in 15 years, he was by my side for 15 years. He had many opportunities to leave the program, always stuck by my side. And I knew the last 3 or 4 years, I kind of just felt as an interim coach, just waiting for him to step up and take the position that is rightfully his as the new head coach. We are both very emotional people. Dejan is a Serbian, former Yugoslavian. my background is Italian. My grandparents were Italian. My parents were from Argentina. So there was a lot of screaming and yelling on the sidelines. And one of my favorite stories is we were playing in Lynchburg, Virginia, in a preseason tournament. And one of our players got red carded. And Dejan got up and started yelling at the referee in Serbian. The referee looks at him, comes running over, and proceeds to red card, which is an ejection for Dejan Mladenovic. And as he's handing him the red card, he goes, "Sir, my mother is from Argentina, and I understand Spanish, and I don't like that." So me being from Argentina and speaking Spanish, I walk over to the referee, and I'm like, "Sir, with all due respect, he was swearing at you in Serbian. It was not Spanish. My family's from Argentina, so you got that all wrong." And he's like, "Doesn't matter. I knew he was yelling at me anyways." So, but as I talked about, Dejan, like I said, he has now been here 22 years, 21 years, and there's not a person here that deserves to be a part of this program, to lead this program more than Dejan. I am so proud of him, what he's done with the program since he's taken over. His devotion and love of John Carroll University is unmatched. I'm so proud that finally, at 38 years old, he's married and has a 13-month-old named Luca, who's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to see him tomorrow. And last year, he did something that I was incapable of doing, leading the team to the Sweet 16. And quite honestly, I couldn't be more proud of Dejan and what he brought to me and my family, and also to this university over the years, and everything he's going to do. And I moved to Florida recently, and I schedule my days around the John Carroll soccer games so I can get home and watch the games on the computer. Joe, I got to talk to you about something afterwards, about those live telecasts. But again, Dejan, thank you for everything you did for me, my family, and for this program. And just looking forward to so many more years of you leading this program in the proper direction. All right, family. First off, I want to say, so many people came up here and said they were going to cry, and they didn't. All right? So I'm not happy about that. Okay? But my family. First off, I want to recognize, you talk about a family business. For the Marinero boys, the family business is soccer. My dad played professionally. My dad coached professionally. My dad was a general manager professionally. I played professionally. I was coach here at John Carroll. My brother played professionally, and my brother has been a coach at Kent State University women's program for 25 years now, and a future Hall of Famer at Kent State University. And as my younger brother, my father passed away a few years ago, but I know that he would be extremely proud of my brother Roberto and his 25 years of coaching at Kent State and what he's done for that program. He started the program in 1997 as an assistant coach and has been there for 25 years. So, Roberto, congratulations. He's got a beautiful family. Let me start with my wife. We've been together for 30 years, 28 years of marriage, 2 wonderful kids, and it's no coincidence that all the best things in my life happened after I met her. I met her in 1992. 1994, we won our first championship with the Crunch. 1994, we got married. 1996, Jesse was born. 1996, we won a championship with the Cleveland Crunch. 1998, my beautiful daughter Janice Lynn was born. In 1999, we won another championship. So It's no mistaking, behind every great player and every great coach is a great woman. And I've been blessed to be married to Jody for 28 years, and she's given me all the best times of my life, so thank you. My two kids, and I talk about, John Carroll University has probably given me more than I have given them. Both my kids were fortunate to come here. They graduated from here. My son Jesse graduated in 18, and in 2020 got his master's. My son Jesse, like I said, I coached him growing up. As a father, our first son, Jesse, was born 3 pounds, 3 ounces, 10 weeks early. And as first-time parents, we were scared, you know what. We spent 10 weeks at Rainbow Children's Hospital, and to watch him grow up and become an All-American at John Carroll University was one of the highlights of my life. And to win, if you look at the program and if you look at page 21, you'll see a picture of me with my two kids. That was after the 2016 championship when we beat Ohio Northern. And quite honestly, if you look at that picture, that was probably one of the happiest you'll ever see me. And winning that championship with Jesse and my daughter there, my wife there, and was quite honestly, with all my accolades and as a player, that was probably the highlight of my athletic career. And it was an honor to win that with Jesse. And to watch him, as I said, to grow up to an All-American, 2-time OAC Midfielder of the Year, and just couldn't be more proud of him now. I want to thank his beautiful girlfriend, Maddie, for joining us here today. Jesse and Maddie live down in Florida, and they came up to honor this tonight, so thank you. The real fun began in 2017 when my beautiful daughter Janice decided to join us at John Carroll University. After much persuasion, she originally started at Kent State. She didn't want to come to John Carroll because I was here and her older brother was here. And she didn't think she would be able to have any fun here. But it ended up being probably her best decision. She knows it. She had so many friends here. And one of my fondest memories of my career here at John Carroll were pre-games in my office once my daughter came here. Before every home game here, her and I would sit in my office and we'd eat Jimmy John's before every game. And Dayon had taken the team out for warm-up and we just sat there, enjoyed our sandwich in the peace and quiet, getting ready for the game. And I really, really miss those moments. So thank you, Janice. Sean, thank you for coming up from Atlanta. In closing, as I said, I just want to thank John Carroll University for what they did for me, what they provided for me and my family. It was my honor to represent this great institution, and I loved every minute of it. Thank you, everybody.
Our next inductee is Joe Bigler. With some encouragement from his dad, Joey grew up on basketball, playing in middle school and hitting his stride in high school. He played for his high school team near Pittsburgh and for a strong AAU team before coming to John Carroll. His mother passed away from her battle with breast cancer in his senior year of high school. Before her passing, though, she was able to go on just one college visit, John Carroll University. She wrote down and tucked away her choice for Joey, and he eventually looked at where she picked, and she chose JCU. This was a sign for him to select John Carroll as his choice of college. Joey knew that John Carroll was a good business school and liked that he could be on his own, but still be close enough for family to come watch him play. Feeling his mom's presence and receiving plenty of support from his dad and brother, Joey was ready to be a strong player as part of Mike Moran's first recruiting class.
However, he was among 40 others trying to make the team in 1993. He obviously did make the team his freshman year and saw playing time in his underclassmen years. Larry Arthur, one of Joey's previous coaches, joined Mike Moran's coaching staff, which helped Joey adjust better to basketball at the college level. In his junior year in 1995-96, Joey was the Division III statistical champion. The team also won its first NCAA tournament game versus Worcester in 1996, which he calls the highlight of his career. Also that season, Joey won the AT&T Long Distance Award for the highest three-point percentage in all of Division III basketball, something he didn't even know existed until he won it and was talking to Chris Wensler about how they were going to recognize him. He set a JCU single-season record for three-point percentage in his junior season. The Blue Streaks punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament once again in Joey's senior year. He also set a single-season record for three-pointers attempted. By the end of his athletic career, Joey had set the record for most three-pointers made and attempted too. Joey had a long, successful career in marketing and sales, dealing with infrastructure for major companies. Please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, from the class of 1997, Joey Bigler.
Oh boy, I've been on an emotional roller coaster all day today. Dreading this moment. Tony, congratulations. Your composure was insane. This is about to be the complete opposite end of the spectrum of what you just saw. The weight room sucked when I was here. Let's just call a spade a spade. In fact, I've stood in this gymnasium a million times. It never looked like this. And I've never felt more uncomfortable in this position under this hoop than I do right now. I don't know where to begin other than you said, I think, Tony said you're playing a goalkeeper spot. I'm just impromptu. You're going to be here a while. You said playing goalkeeper takes some internal fortitude, might have been the words you used. I have a daughter who's 15. She plays goalkeeper. Let me tell you what internal fortitude. The parent of a goalkeeper. I've charged fields. I've flipped off parents. I've argued with other referees, and I hate everybody on a soccer field because my daughter plays goalkeeper. It's the last line of defense. If you think playing goalkeeper was tough, you should be the parent of a goalkeeper. And I don't even know anything about soccer. But it's been a long day for me. To be honest with you, if you need to go to the restroom, go now. When you come back, I'll still be here. Brevity is not a strength. I threw the entire, hey, you got 6 to 8 minutes out the window. That's not going to happen. I've had a ton of advice over the past several days about this speech, and most people said, I wanted to get up here and start this speech with like 77 years ago. I was here a quarter of a century ago, and then you were here 36 years ago, so I had to nix that. So I thought I would just hop up here and say, I made such an impact. I'm sorry, Joe. I hope this doesn't get you in trouble. I made such an impact on the athletic organization here at John Carroll that when I picked up my name tag today, it said I was a football team inductee. Yes, as you can see, outside linebacker. London Fletcher and I were opposite each other in the 96 season. But it's priceless. I'm going to save it. It's just apropos for exactly how my career was here at Carroll. But I've had a ton of people give me advice. See, we're 5 minutes in. I haven't said a word. I said, most people said, you've had a quarter of a century to think about this, so it better be good, Bigler, and keep it short. It's not going to be short. and I understand if you head to the restroom. Brevity is not a strength, but I'm going to do my best. And I guarantee you, and I'm sorry already, I feel like I know all of you and part of my family. I'm going to cry like 6 times. And it's just who I am. I can't get through that Sarah Bareilles commercial with the dogs without crying. But to start this off, I thought I would take a little different approach than most. I don't know, maybe this will be entertaining, if not anything. But I thought I'd start out by not thanking a few people and entities that had zero positive impact on anything about my existence or being here tonight. So I'd like to first take a second to thank my 6th grade art teacher, Mrs. Hatch. I'm from the Pittsburgh area. I went to a school called Penn Middle School, and somewhere in the mid-'80s, Mrs. Hatch asked our 6th grade class to sketch one of my classmates sitting in the front of the room holding a bowl of fruit. What are you in 6th grade? Laney? I have a 10-year-old daughter, 5th grade. I'm at 11. When she saw my first draft of what I drew, she told me how horrible it was, and so I crinkled it up and I tossed it across the room, and it went into the basket, and I said, "Basket good." Mrs. Hatch said I was a Weisenheimer. This is like 1985. The Weisenheimer, and that I would never amount to anything. I mean, I think you'd probably get fired if you did that now, or at least, I don't know, helicopter mothers. Anyway, I later received a D in the 6th grade in art class, and it kept me off of the honor roll. I had pretty good grades. I wasn't as smart as you, Tony. I was a bad student. But it kept me off the honor roll in 6th grade, and my mother stormed in to see Mrs. Hatch and said, Joey could at least be, by the way, I'm the 5th. Joseph Andrew Bigler, the 5th. My dad's here, he's the 4th. So there was Joey. I had to be Joey, so I changed it to Joe when I graduated, but everybody here at college calls me Joe. I just wanted to be clear. So you're like, why is he's 48. Why is he calling himself Joey? That's the reason. So anyway, my mother stormed in and she saw Mrs. Hatch and said, "You gave him a D. Shouldn't he at least get a C for trying? Like the kids that aren't good at gym get a C." Mrs. Hatch pulled out what I had thrown in the trash that day and showed my mother. It was a drawing of Michelle Dion, which was the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey goalkeeper at the time, which was a great drawing. My mother came home and I asked her how it went. She said, "You're right. She hates you. You deserved a D and you're an idiot." So today, I wish to not thank Mrs. Hatch for any of her support. I'd also like to not thank the makers of Jägermeister. This is page 1. While at John Carroll, I once visited a local establishment on wing night and thought it would be a good idea to eat wings and wash them down with Jägermeister. It wasn't a good idea. And of course, we had a Sunday morning practice. Those of you that play college athletics know, your coaches just know when you are out late the night before. So Coach John Stedman, one of my favorite people in the world, used to have a lot of great sayings, and one of them was, "It's time to get the poison out." Coaches always know, and that night they knew, and the next morning we got the poison out, and they got the poison out of me. To this day, I cannot even smell Jägermeister without getting sick, and so I thought I'd not thank the inventors of Jägermeister. I'd finally like to not thank the entire Ohio Northern University. I hate your guts. Thank you. I never played well in the thriving metropolis of Ada, Ohio. I hated that drive. I hated the cornfields. I hated seeing that stupid bar, the Regal Beagle. And I won't even go to an aquarium today for fear that I might see a polar bear. I hate them. Whether at their gym or them in ours, it never went well for me. I was horrible 8 times, twice a year, every year, no matter where we were. I played my whole career with no major injuries, very fortunate. But then I tore my ACL in an alumni game back here in 1999. The alumni game was prior to a Carroll game. The visiting team, Ohio Northern University. So I'd like to not thank Ohio Northern. To sum this all up, kind of like a Seinfeld episode here. One year, we're at Ohio Northern. I played terrible as usual. Coach John Stedman said, "Bigler, you couldn't throw in the ocean in that gym. We lose the game. I come home on a Saturday, and it was There was that infamous wing and Jaeger night with the Get the Poison Out practice the next day. And about a week later, I went to my mailbox, number 999 here at John Carroll, because I was a resident assistant for a couple years. And people still wrote letters back in the mid-'90s, Maddie and Laney. And I had one. I opened it up and it read, this is no lie, true story. Dear Joey, last week while visiting my grandson at Ohio Northern, we stopped in to see part of the men's basketball game. I can only assume and hope that your art skills develop better than your shooting skills. Hugs and kisses, Mrs. Hatch. I still have the letter. She truly hated my guts. To this day, I hate the arts. I don't go to a museum. I won't look at a picture. I'm on page 2. Now that I'm a parent, I have 2 daughters, one 15, Maddie, and one 10, Lainey, and they hear me say this all the time. I hate driving you around to your practices. I hate it. I'm often driving to practices, tournaments, and all over the place. Fort Wayne, Cincinnati, Kentucky, just driving along, staring out the window, wondering what my purpose in life is as I sit behind the wheel. Maddie's just months away from getting her license, and Maddie, I cannot wait. So to my father who's here tonight, I'd like to say I have no idea how you and Mom did it all those years. Whether it was a road trip or a flight, the latest basketball shoes, I always had everything I needed to carve out a path that now ends with this evening. You hear stories and people that struggled in trials and tribulations. I tell people all the time, I don't know if it was silver, but I had a spoon, and I had a spoon because of my father. And 2 of my father's life lessons to me over the years were to maintain balance. That was number 1. A balance between faith, family, school, and sports. Now, I've seemed to flip-flop the sports and the school part quite a bit at times, and I'm sure the goal was to remain and still be well-balanced, and that helped me, I think, really transition to this university in JCU, which I think is the university's pillars and overarching foundation, grooming and growing well-balanced student and student athletes. As I was growing up, I had a tendency to enjoy reading about myself. Again, Tony, you mentioned about your lack of confidence. Not so much here. I enjoyed reading about myself. I mean, I was good at everything, so I just read about it all the time. And read in the newspapers how great I was, and my father would walk by and see me and catch me, and I'd actually try to hide, and he would always find me, and he said, why don't you stop looking back at what you already accomplished? Start worrying about what you're going to do tomorrow, because somewhere out there in the country, somebody is better than you. Not much you can say to that, really. I mean, I'm sure he was right, and so I had to always bite my tongue. But you heard the introduction. So tonight I get to stand here with my father in the room and say, Dad, I heard you for all those years, but in the 1995-96 season, when it came to shooting three-pointers, there was nobody better. Not a single soul. Thank you. In all seriousness, thank you, Father, for all of your support, for paving the way and giving me every opportunity to succeed. Thank you for being here and always being there and knowing exactly what to say, even when it's not always what I want to hear. To my younger brother, James, born on Christmas morning to Joseph and Mary in this fine Jesuit institution. He was far from Jesus, but true story. James was a college basketball scholarship player himself at Clarion University in Pennsylvania. He's 5 years younger than me. And so we played together. We never got to play together in high school, but for my 4 years of high school and my 4 years of his 4 years of high school, there was a Bigler in the starting lineup for every single game. Something we're proud of. He couldn't be here tonight, but to this day, I often see people and they say, hey, I watched you and your brother play basketball. Tell me, who is better? And I always react the same way, like, are you serious? You got to be kidding me. If he was here, I'd say that. I'd say, you might have been a little better shooter, and he was. But he struggled to dribble, pass, catch, guard anyone. So I enjoyed beating up on him in the driveway for all those years. So to my wife, Laura, who's here, also a JCU grad, it all started here for us when my teammate John Samuel introduced us here on campus. For 2 years, I was a resident assistant here on campus. The first year, in the basement of East Hall with half of the basketball team on my floor, which was crazy. I didn't think it was real at first when I saw the guys that were going to be on the floor in East. And then the second year in Murphy, not long after that dorm went to a co-ed situation. After a few dates and several times to sneak and Lori into Murphy Hall, and sorry, Dean Farrell, one of my favorite people, the end result has been 22 years of marriage, 2 successful careers, 2 great daughters. So thank you for driving through the snowstorms to places like Hiram or listening to my games on the university's radio station back in the early and mid-'90s. To my 2 daughters, Maddie and Lainey, thank you for listening to how great I was for your entire lives. Although I hate driving you, I do love watching you both compete, and I know that you play basketball because I love the game. So thank you. You might not have recognized this, but there's 2 entrances to this building. The shorter route to the gym and the longer one over by the bookstore. When I bring you both back to games, I often take the longer route. One reason was to go to the bookstore, even though the bookstore is never open. Ryan, you were there. You know what I'm talking about. The bookstore is never open, by the way. I don't know if we can do anything about this. It's never open. And the other reason was to avoid walking by the Hall of Fame wall. I was waiting for one of you to ask me, so if you were so great, Dad, where's your plaque? Now we don't have to take the long route to the gym, girls. And it won't matter anyways. The bookstore won't be open, so we'll just come in through Belvoir, I guess, when the construction's finished. To my high school coach, Paul Malchin, who couldn't be here tonight, but a major influence on my development as a basketball coach and a person. I may have spent as much time with my high school coach as my father during those years and appreciate everything he taught me. I also had the chance to play for one of my idols while I was in high school. My AAU coach, back when I think AAU actually meant something, was Pitt's point guard Sean Miller. Sean is now heading back for a second stint as the basketball coach at another fine Jesuit university down the street for us, Coach Moran's alma mater, actually, at Xavier. Sean had the uncanny ability to not only tell me what to do, but to show me how to do it. And it was amazing to learn from him and have the chance to play for someone I grew up idolizing. This is the emotional part, so we're getting there. To Coach Moran, every team seems to always have a bit of a class clown, and I think I was that guy. The guy that just takes some heat. And it started dawning on me one game when I was sitting on the bench and something went wrong out on the floor, and Coach Moran turned around and said, "That's your fault." I wasn't even in the game. But the best might have been when we were watching game tapes. And back in the day, we had to scout other teams and watch our games on VHS tapes, so the clarity wasn't exactly in high definition. Coach would be walking through some bad plays, and he would often say, "Hey, Biggs, you see yourself there? See yourself? You just made that guy look like he's an All-American. You're out of position." Totally out of position. Season's gone by, one game after a time, one film session after a time. You see yourself, you see yourself. I couldn't take it anymore one day. One day he says, "Biggs, you see yourself?" I said, "No, Coach, I don't see myself because I'm on the bench. That's Bronson. That's not me. It hasn't been me all season. It's Bronson. Bronson Cudgel." True story. He had us mixed up for an entire season. And if you knew Bronson, it's even funnier because our ethnicities are different. So, Coach, forget the X's and O's, but ever since I graduated, there hasn't been one business or one personal meeting that I've gone into that I don't think of you. Above all other things, maybe the one lesson you taught me that I carry with me every day is your work ethic towards always being prepared. Whether it's Division I, II, or III, people don't realize the preparation, the commitment, the talent at all levels. And while we might not have been the better team on occasion, we were always prepared, and I've carried that with me throughout my life, right down to you having to write scouting reports and your players spell checking them. Unfortunately, that's one of the problems with having smart guys on the team. We still talk about how you would write, number 10 is strictly left-handed, and the word strictly had a K in it. There's no K, Coach. While the grammar and spelling might not always been perfect, your preparation was always an A+. Thank you for the opportunity to play here, Coach Moran. I know I drove you crazy from time to time, but I appreciate your support over all of these years. And to Pete, Pat, and Matt, the tradition continues with Coach's sons, with the 3 of them. All of you have always been friends and fans from back when you were growing up and running around on the court and on the team bus. Always supporters of mine, right down to the bond I have with Matt, who wore number 11. Thanks to all of the Morans for supporting me over all these years and for helping me promote me for this honor. All the best in the upcoming season. The bar's been set, and we're excited to see you lead the program to the next level. Every good coach has a great supporting cast. Coach Moran had the Mount Rushmore of Northeast Ohio basketball coaches, and Bob Straub, John Stedman, Larry Arthur, and Mike Zabegan. We lost Coach Straub and Stedman, but I think of them often. I had a bad habit of jumping up and leaving my feet to make a pass on court. It drove Strauby crazy. He would holler, "Don't leave your feet." I come off the court one game, and I said, "Coach, I jump up so I can see. Everyone's taller than me." He said, "Well, maybe you should grow. Don't leave your feet." One of my favorite lines was Straubing. To Coach Arthur, Stedman, and Zabegan, who are here tonight, it's always a family affair with all of you. Your dedication and loyalty to the program, from your wives, children, to the homemade cookies on the bus that your daughters made, and to being the guys I'd go to when times got tough and I needed to cry, complain, or get a pep talk. Through a crazy twist of fate, Coach Arthur was actually a summer camp coach and counselor of mine for 2 years while I was in high school, and then we reconnected when we learned I was coming to Carroll and he would be on the coaching staff. So some things are just meant to be, Coach. And Coach Zabegan, the kindest and most loyal man in the world. No game felt like it was ready to start until I saw Zabegs behind the scores table. LeBron may have flung powder in the air before every game, but no game started for us until Coach Zabegs passed out Bazooka Joe Bubblegum, and he gave me a piece tonight. There it is, buddy, for the last time. And one of my favorite people ever, Coach John Stedman. He's no longer with us. But Coach Steady was always good for a great line or two, and he told me many times that I could turn the ball over in a phone booth. A great coach and a great friend. Mrs. Stedman, thank you for making the effort to be here tonight. I love you. I'll save your voicemail forever, by the way. To my family, my entire high school and college career, the Bigler family always traveled well. My aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters, thanks to all of you for all your support over the years. The Biglers always needed the most tickets, a benefit of a big Italian family on my mother's side. Lots of support. Thank you all for making the trip from Pittsburgh to be here tonight and showing your faces in Cleveland after last night. When I'm having bad days, I often think about it. I had a great dog. I love my dog. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. The pain didn't get any better this morning when I woke up. That loss last night was tragic, but congratulations to you Browns fans. There you go. The dog pound's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. To my wife's parents and her sister, Mark Lynn and Sarah Hobbs, it's this simple. I have the best in-laws in the world, period. Now, nobody else can come up here and say that, but it's true. You and your family are the best. People often say to me that we know you're in business and sales and you can sell anything to anybody, but your best sell may have been convincing Laura to marry you. I'm sure you've had that thought before. How in the world did he do that? Thank you for simply being you and for always supporting me and our family. To my friend, the genius, Joe Giuliano, my adopted mentor when I moved to the west side of Cleveland. Thank you for watching me play while I was here at Carroll, guiding Laura and me through lots of growing up, right down to helping us build our first home in Bay Village where we still live, and agitating the hell out of me at times over how you know everything about sports. Thank you for making the trip here tonight and for being a friend and a fan of mine. All right, I'm going to get through this. But to my teammates, so many, over 4 years and 100 games that impacted me in various ways over the years, but too many to mention by name. I get a lot of hype for this highest three-point field goal percentage in the country my junior season. But what was often overlooked is that our team also led the country in three-point field goal percentage. I never cared much about individual statistics. I just cared about winning. And we had a great team, and everybody contributed. Some of those guys are here tonight. Ian Dahm and Ryan Eskridge are here tonight, two major contributors to that honor and our program. Some have said to me before, you know, Ian Dahm's jump shot might actually be better looking than yours, Bigler. And Eskridge, he's just simply better looking. Both might be true, Dahmer and Esky. I don't know, although Esky lost some hair. After all these years, whether on the golf course, text messages, or crossing paths in our professional careers, we're still friends. And after all this time, it's great to see you both and have you both here tonight. Thank you. To my good friend Mark Sullivan, maybe the best athlete I ever played with during my time here at Carroll. So glad we reconnected, Sully. Keep working on your golf game, bro. You'll get there. You're the best. Thanks for being here and for always making me laugh. To the A-Train, Artie Taylor from Indianapolis. You can't have a strong outside game in the game of basketball without a big presence under the hoop, and Artie Taylor already in the Hall of Fame. One of those guys that lived on my floor in East. So many great times with Artie, and always comforted to walk on the floor going into battle, knowing that Artie and the man in the middle, Jeff Sisplankis, here tonight, 6 feet, 8 inches tall. Ceci, thank you to you and Jill for making the trip from Atlanta. Let me be the first to say, I think you should be the next one standing here. 1,000-point scorer, only God knows how many rebounds, and a major contributor for 4 years. Would be nice to look back at that entire starting lineup in 95 and 96 and find all 5 guys in the Hall of Fame. You deserve it. You certainly took the attention off of us little guys. David and I appreciate it. Speak of the devil. To David Funstein, our leader, our point guard, and already a Hall of Famer. David, not only were you a great player, but a great therapist. I can't imagine what went through your head for over 100 games with me and JJ on the same floor. Only one ball out there, and you had to keep us both happy. More importantly, when I came to Carroll, it was a difficult transition. I became part of your family. Can't say thank you enough to your parents, brothers, and sisters for taking me into your homes and lives over the holidays and the times the dormitories are closed. I don't think people realize some of the trials and tribulations you have at the Division III level, but I didn't have anywhere to go. David's family adopted me. Still to this day, I could probably go back to his house and they treat me like one of their sons. You're a great player and a teammate and even better human being from an amazing family. Thank you, David. To this table of village idiots over here, my friends, Ryan Tyson, John Samuel, J.J. Richardson, Andy Henton, and John McGinty. Literally my brothers from other mothers. I could talk about all of their accomplished athletic careers, but I'm most proud about who they become. A lawyer, small business owners, 2 doctors, one that married a pediatric anesthesiologist. The next line was, Coach Moran tried saying that, and I couldn't say it. The net worth of that table sitting over there is more than 116 countries around the world. Rory O'Neal, I know you're out there somewhere. If you're out there, whatever these guys are donating, it is not enough, bro. It's not enough. They're cutting you short. But an interesting story you all might appreciate is no matter where we are or what we're all doing, every year since 1997, the 6 of those guys at the table and I get together each year for 4 days. This week marked year number 25. From the floors of our apartments to public golf courses, pre-marriage and kids, to places like Pinehurst, Sea Island, and this week at Firestone. It's a pretty remarkable annual tradition to still have the same bond we established in college that remains intact today. They're all 6'6", so wherever we go, I always felt like people said, those guys must have played basketball somewhere, and nice that they bring their agent along. J.J. Richardson, another Hall of Famer. We used to say they can't guard both of us, and they couldn't. There was nobody better to be across from me on the court than you. Your presence made me better. John Samuel, the ultimate professional student athlete and human being. The history between us dates back to our high school, and your friendship and loyalty is unmatched. And for the record, Sammy makes the case that technically he led the nation in three-point field goal percentage in 95-96 because he shot 100%, 1 for 1. True story. Hope College, we got our asses kicked. Andy Henton, the ultimate guy's guy, literally the guy that would give his friends the shirt off his back, and one of my favorite people to simply be around. Thank you, Drew. John McGinty, every village idiot needs someone to keep them in check. Dr. John McGinty, a successful cardiologist, longtime friend, great athlete, and loyal fan and supporter of the JCU Hoops team. Love you, bro. All John Carroll grads. And my best friend, the guy that knows where the bodies are buried, Ryan Tyson. On any other team at any other school in the OAC, Ryan would have been a starter, but his timing sucked, so he had to share time with all of us, but you always handled it with grace and dignity. The ultimate team player, and I couldn't be more proud to be godfather to your daughter and your best friend. The bond and friendship we've built started here between these walls in the locker room, hotels, road trips, and will continue with us forever. Those of you that play sports understand that bond and that pact. In the 1993 season, Coach Moran's first recruiting class at John Carroll, the first day of open gym, there were 50 to 60 players, 40-plus freshmen, all thinking they could play at John Carroll. At the end of 4 years, out of all those freshmen that showed up on day one, only 4 stood tall and made it through 4 years as a student athlete at John Carroll and remained part of this basketball program. Me, David, JJ, and John Samuel, all here today, is something that I know the 4 of us are all very proud of. I came to John Carroll in 1993 for one reason. I struggled with where to go, where to continue playing hoops, and where to further my education. Lots of options to weigh. I remember asking my parents to write down their choice, but to not share it with me. I wanted to make that decision on my own, and after I made that decision, maybe we would reveal it and have some fun and see if anything matched. My father visited a few places together, and my father and I visited a few places together, most notably Carnegie Mellon in our backyard of Pittsburgh. And I remember making a few trips on my own. One that stands out was the military academy at West Point. My mother had been battling breast cancer for several years, and during my senior year, she was only able to make one college visit with me, and it was here to John Carroll. When we arrived, we were greeted by Sean O'Toole. Sean gave us the tour of the campus. Weeks later, I poked around and found my mother and father's notes. Dad wrote down West Point. Mom wrote down John Carroll. And under John Carroll, it said, because I really like Sean O'Toole. I chose Carroll, and as I get older, and people say, so what things could you change? What regrets do you have? I'm not sure I have any, but I might have a wish. I might have wished that I had an older brother, and if I could pick that person, I'd pick Sean. I played here with a confidence level because I knew I was doing what I loved. I was in the right place for me, with the right people around me, and it all started on that day with Sean. Mom was right. Moms are always right. They always know best. The foundation that I received as a student athlete here at John Carroll was the hallmark of what Division III athletics is all about, maintaining balance. I couldn't be more humbled by this recognition or more proud to be part of this university's community. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Thank you for this honor. Go Streaks.
All right, our final order of business. Let's chat 2002 football. A central tenet of a Jesuit education is the word magis. Translated from Latin, the magis means the more or better. The 2002 football team brought this term to life. In the first 3 years of the Regis Scaife era, the Blue Streaks knocked on the door of greatness with 3 straight 7-3 seasons. In 2002, with a strong-willed defense and a talented offense, the Blue Streaks put it all together. The 2002 season started with dominant victories, 2 straight wins by 40-plus points at Wasmer Field. That was the season of transition for the facility as Don Shula Stadium was under construction, including the locker room and the weight room. Following an easy road win over Ohio Northern, John Carroll snuck by BW at home for the Cuyahoga Gold Bowl, 20-13. After another lopsided win over Marietta, Mount Union loomed. Adversity struck in that game as Mount Union knocked out starting quarterback Tom Arth with a torn labrum. The veteran QB would miss the next 3 games after the loss to the Purple Raiders, but backup quarterback Tony Biting was ready to go. Losing Arth changed the team's mentality. Everyone was needed if this team was to make a deep run into the playoffs. The team's motto, "From Within," would propel JCU to success. John Carroll flew by Heidelberg, Muskingum, and Otterbein in consecutive weeks. Arth returned for the Capital game and ensured that JCU would be part of the conversation for an at-large bid with a 9-1 record. As much as the offense thrived, the defense excelled, pitching 3 shutouts and holding 3 other opponents to single digits. And so the Blue Streaks got a chance to head to the big dance. As the at-large team, the Blue Streaks would be on the road all the way. JCU opened with a 27-7 win over Hobart, defeating Muhlenberg 21-10, and then SUNY Brockport in overtime 16-10. And just like that, the Blue Streaks fired into the NCAA semifinals for the first time ever. The journey ended there as the Purple Raiders defeated the Blue Streaks in the rematch. Oh, but the legacy of the team remains. The defense, led by Captain Chris Cabero, and the offense, anchored by so many playmakers, made this a complete team. Without a doubt, the 2002 football team still stands as one of the best in school history. And so, we welcome the 2002 JCU football team into the John Carroll Athletic Hall of Fame, and we have Chris Cabero, team captain, who will say a few words about the team.
Where's Joey Bigler at? Joey, my speech was 8 pages. It's now 1 page. All right? I'd like to thank Rory, Allison, and Joseph who coordinated this event. I think it's the largest we've had for this ceremony, 300 people-ish, right? Ton. I want to thank the family and friends who were here tonight to support and celebrate what it means for these individuals inducted to the Hall of Fame. If you're here now, I can assume you were there from the beginning, providing the support needed for the success and greatness to become reality. I want to congratulate the other inductees. It's a great accomplishment. I hope you guys feel honored tonight. I want to thank our coaches who traveled near and far. We had a coach here, Coach Scaife, traveled from Miami yesterday, leaving tomorrow morning. We had Coach Reardon, Coach Story, Seelick, Dociato, Coach Hoffman, Mike Murphy, who was our GA at the time, and then coaches who are in a better place were not able to meet with us tonight. Coach Ruvalo, Yarnell, and last but not least, Coach Thompson. Before I start our story, I will make this brief. Anyone who's a D3 coach or D3 athlete, right? There's an understanding that those who have or been involved do it purely for the love of the sport. It's a part of the atmosphere, the environment, the camaraderie amongst fellow teammates, along with the long-lasting relationships that you attain. There are no scholarships, no stipends, there's no big crowds, but I can assure you these coaches that make minimal and spend a lot of hours, they do it for the love of the kids and the sport purely. That's what makes it so great. So as I get into our story, and I'll make this brief. There's been four football teams that have been inducted to the Hall of Fame. You have the 1959, 62, 63 team, and we have the 1989 team as well. Congratulations, Jim Mitchell. And now today we have our fifth team, 2002 team. So just to be clear, more players from 2000, let me go back. I've been here before, thankfully, 8 years ago. But I can tell you tonight is probably the most heartwarming welcome and award we can get as a team. We get a lot of great players, a lot of good teammates, and a lot of good men. So let's go back to 2001. 21 years ago, hard to believe. We had coaches at the time with a long history involvement with the Cleveland area football team, likes of Chanel, St. Joe's, with a rich football history. We had a lot of good players from Chicago, Youngstown, Pittsburgh, Cleveland areas, all with a desire and passion to be successful in football.
And I would tell you, there was something missing from the years previous, or where we're at. We had, typically we were 7-3. At the time, I think we had like 27 consecutive winning years, but 7-3 fell short of what we expected as a 2002 team. When you have the potential skill to do what you want to succeed, that's where you have to self-reflect, right, and ask yourself why. What am I not doing, and what does the team need to be doing to get where we want? It was an it factor, something very fundamental and something easier said than done. It was a mentality of accountability and discipline to ourselves and to individuals and each other. You know, do we have the leadership, do we have the accountability, did we do the little things 100% on a consistent level to attain the victories we expected? Ultimately, there's a goal, right? What are you willing to attain? What are you willing to give up to attain that goal? And what do you want to get out of it? How do you get there? Those are things we had to figure out. And as we ended our 2001 season, headed into the summer, the captains were announced, and we got together. And our motto, as explained before, was from within. You know, what does that mean? And it probably meant different things to different players. But the consistency was, what do you do as an individual to focus on, to bring yourself to the absolute best every day, and what you have from within, were workouts, practice, the focus on the game, and there's things you control, right? Two things you control in your life are going to be your effort and focus, and can you provide those two things? And it wasn't really about an individual, it was about what you're going to provide your teammate, the best you can give your teammate every day, in and out. It was an expectation that the more intense you are and the more focus you had, the blood, sweat, and the tears that you would share for the season will be worth it. There's a Bible verse, Proverbs 27:17. It says, and I'm sure everyone's heard it, iron sharpens iron. No one person sharpens another, right? So one person sharpens another. I can assure you that the model mentality of this was the foundation to our success. And going through our season, there were challenges that we worked through, were shared earlier. And our season started out as it used to be, 2 days. And I can tell you, going into the season as a defensive player, our offense destroyed us the years prior. So we had a high level, a high bar to meet up to as a defense. And I can tell you that was our motivation. That was the motivation for the entire team. How are you going to be better than the guy next to you day in and day out? And I can tell you, you go into 2 days, you know, you're putting things in perspective. As an underclassman, you know, 2 days, they sucked. They were 8 hours a day, nonstop, just busting your ass. But I recall having a conversation with Brian Brook, my played outside linebacker, my roommate throughout college. And one of the things he told me was, you know, you think about it, you're 8 hours a day playing football, the sport you love the most. How bad is it really? So again, just putting things in perspective. We were lucky to be where we're at and have the opportunity just to play ball all the time. So I can tell you the thing that probably made us the best for our team in that season was one-on-ones, which is starting off as for starting defense, and it was very contentious all the time. We pushed ourselves to the limit. We pushed each other, and we held each other accountable, as we said we were going to do from the start of the season. And that maintained itself all the way through. And to be a good teammate, right, you have to carry the same weight or more weight than the guy next to you. So there's, you know, it's a matter of just, again, accountability and wanting more than what you can give. So I'm not going to go all 14 games we played. But I can tell you that throughout the season, starting out 5-0, playing them out, losing, and more importantly, losing Tom. Tommy was the man of the team. That was the guy you looked up to.
It was a guy who pushed you to be better. And I can tell you that he didn't get hurt. I don't know we'd be in the playoffs where we're at, because that pushed us. If people step up, like Tony Biding mentioned earlier, stepping up, playing QB. We ran the ball a lot more. Ran to George, our line stood up. Our defense took care of business as we should have. And then we got the opportunity to make the playoffs as at large. And I can tell you our motivation going to the playoffs was just the opportunity really to play other teams outside of our conference, improve ourselves. OEC is a great conference, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is. But you always want that opportunity to prove yourself overall. And we had that opportunity to do that. I'd say the best, we went 12-2, most wins in school history, top 20 in offense, defense throughout. And the most important thing I can tell you is not the victories we had. It was the teammates that we were able to play with. And looking back, everything we went through in that season, and like I said before, the accountability, discipline, you see it today in these men that I got to see tonight. Fortunately, I've been able to keep in touch with most of these guys. And I can tell you that the success that we've achieved as fathers, as leaders, is the foundation of that was from this team. And that's what probably means the most. Like I said, I've been blessed for the last 20 years to see a handful of my teammates get married, see their kids grow up, learn from them on how to be good husbands, good fathers, and that keeps giving 20 years later, knowing that from within we should always give our best to those we cherish, respect, and that we may not know. I'll conclude with this. I have two challenges for this audience, right? One is to be a good leader all the time. And secondly, make the time of those that you care about the most, right? This room is blessed with God's gifts, which is everyone that's been here, you have support and gifts from each other. So make the time to call, grab a drink, send a simple text saying, I'm thinking of you. You have time, right? But I can tell you that, there's folks in your life that you probably wish were here, right? So life is short. Make sure you're living it to your best and giving the best to those around you that you love. Thank you.
And that is a wrap. On behalf of the Blue Gold Club, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. A special thank you to Michelle Morgan, Father Bernie, Brian Filikowski, Allison Kwan, Candace Pluhar, Katie Hine, Noah Tyletke, Melissa Wensler, Maddie Maselko, Matt Lyons, Rory O'Neill, and Rory Hill. We're so grateful everyone could join us tonight, and for our inductees, we will be excited to honor you at halftime tomorrow for their homecoming game versus Heidelberg. All right, everybody, have a great night.